Welcome into Unobstructed Views as the Pittsburgh Penguins are on a 6-game win streak, looking to make that 7 tonight against the Ottawa Senators. I'm Hannah Mears alongside Stanley Cup champion. Someone play his music that he is back finally in studio with us. It is Max Talbot. Max, we missed you.
I missed you too.
It's been a while.
I'm so excited to be here again today.
Goodness, it's so exciting to have you.
And the Penguins are a different place the last time
Much
I was
different.
here too.
Different place, different players. I mean, everything is different seemingly about this team right now. So there is so much we're going to be able to get into tonight with that. But starting off though, what do you think generally just about this shift that this team has had and the heater that they're on?
Well, I feel it's such a different situation like the last time we're talking about not a rebuild from the Penguins last time I was here, but it was like, okay, what are they going to do at the start of the season? We're talking, what are we going to do with Sidney Crosby on the outside, maybe not in Pittsburgh, but from the news outside of Pittsburgh was like, okay, what are they going to do with Sidney Crosby? Where is this team going? A lot of draft pick. We're obviously thinking about the rebuild with the 3 older guys and everything. But now we're in February. The Penguins are second in the Metro. They're playing well, and we're almost thinking about like, hey, who are we buying to get this team to make a push for the playoff? And maybe the Eastern Conference playoff picture that we see here, it is so open for the Penguins. You know, yes, I was talking with some players. I went to the morning skate. The Lightning is very good. They won a big game outdoors against the Boston Bruins. Carolina is a very good team, but the Penguins just walked over them like last week or 2 weeks ago. So the Penguins are really in contention this year because it's wide open. You don't know who's going to come out of the East. So I feel like today I'm like full of like maybe
life, energy,
life and energy. And you go to a morning skate like I was at the rink this morning, and you talk to players. The vibe is good. You talk to immediate guy Phil Bourque, and we're like, you know, it's cool to be around this team again because I feel like they have depth. I think that Dan Mears and his team just changed the whole chemistry of the team and the energy around the team. The room is loose, and guys are producing that maybe you don't expect them to produce. It's the only team in the NHL that are top 5 in both power play and PK. They scored a bunch of goals recently. If I was looking at the stats correctly, 5 times in the last 8 games, they score over 6 goals a game. Oh, well, not over, they scored 6 goals a game. So think about like a powerhouse. And Sidney Crosby hasn't contributed to a lot of these goals recently. So everybody's contributing a lineup, and it's fun. I'm excited.
One guy that's been contributing heavily is Anthony Mantha. Yeah. He's been a presence for them as of late, has 5 goals and 6 assists over the past 10 games. I mean, he's been awesome. We know he's a big presence, but Max, to see this offensive explosion from him, how big has this been?
Well, it's huge. You know, he's having a blast. I had a chance to talk to him this morning, too. He's got 5 goals in the last 5 games and clutch goals also. So the guy is a truck, you know. He does a lot of things on the ice. He's playing with confidence right now. And I found an interesting stats, too. It's the first guy. He's got 19 goals, so we expect him to have a 20th goal tonight, probably.
Let's do it.
But it would be the first player that you sign as a free agent. You know, that last summer you sign him, and that's going to score 20 goals in his first season since Peter Sikora, which was my my good friend back in 2007, 2008, 2009. So what a season he's having.
It's awesome. It's awesome to see the contributions, like we said, from everybody on the roster. Sid is going to be the type of guy to get back and get his, and he's going to get back in the groove. But it's nice to see that they haven't missed a beat with injuries, and you've been seeing them spread the wealth, if you will. But they did lose to the Senators for nothing earlier this season in the Sens, 6-2-2 in their last 10 games. So they're going to be a big opponent tonight. Odds are in their favor if you look at different lines that are happening, but never say never. The Pens are on a nice little streak, Max.
For sure, but they're having trouble against the Sens recently. So the Penguins are 7-0-1 in the last 8 games against the Sens. So it's going to be tough tonight.
Well, Max is going to bring them luck, as well as our guest coming up here on Unobstructed Views. Stay tuned.
The Penguins charity game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh is returning for the 15th straight season. On Thursday, February 26th, tune in to purchase this legendary retro-inspired Penguins charity canvas duffel bag, which draws inspiration from the bold new 2025-26 third jersey. The Penguins gold is reminiscent of Mario Lemieux and the Penguins of the 1980s. The Penguins word mark is displayed on the carrying strap, and the zipper pulls are color coordinated by bag level. 3 bag tiers will be available once again, featuring various items honoring iconic players, management, and moments in Pittsburgh Penguins history. Proceeds help the missions of both the Penguins Foundation and Mario Lemieux Foundation. To see a complete list of the items available in each Penguins charity bag, log on to pittsburghpenguinsfoundation.org/charity game preview or scan the QR code on our screen.
The road to puck drop begins on Penguins Tonight. A first look at the latest game news, stories from around the league, and so much more. Penguins Tonight, 1 hour before every game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh. Presented by Morgan & Morgan.
Unobstructed views puck drop here in just moments, but we are privileged to have some awesome guests here with us tonight alongside Stanley Cup champion Max Talbot. I'm Hannah Mears, and hockey has been a sport that Pittsburgh loves for a long time and has loved for a long time, but they've loved it so much that at times they've come together to even help bring it back locally. And a guy who knows all about that is Robert Morris, head men's ice hockey coach, Derek Schooley, who is joining us today. Coach, first and foremost, you've been there for about over 2 decades now, and you also picked up your 300th win in December. So we just want to give you a big congratulations.
Yeah.
An icon here in Pittsburgh hockey, if you will.
I appreciate that. Thank you. But like you said, couldn't do it without the community, couldn't do it without our alums, our players. I'm just fortunate to be a part of the Robert Morris community as well as Pittsburgh hockey. It's awesome.
We'll get into that for sure throughout the show to talk more about everything that's happened with the history of this program as puck drop underway here in PPG Paints Arena as the Pittsburgh Penguins look to make it 7 in a row tonight. But Coach, tell us about your team over there at Robert Morris on a little bit of a win streak as well. Did we catch you at a good time?
Yeah, this is the best time you could have got us. It must be something in the water in Pittsburgh. Everybody's hot. We beat Army, we beat Holy Cross twice. We split this past weekend with Bentley, so we've taken a good number of points, 4 of our last 5. So it's definitely something in the water in Pittsburgh and hockey right now.
Any good prospects in your team this year? Who's looking like to maybe be a good player, maybe in the NHL, or any good prospects where you're leading your team right now?
Yeah, we've got a good group of guys. We've had them since our restart a couple years ago. We're really starting to become an older team, and if you look, that's a big save
What
there.
a save.
Big save.
Yeah, especially in the first minute of the game, you can't give that one up, can you?
No.
No.
We learned a lot about that last year with the Penguins. There were a lot of quick goals like that were hard to come back from.
Yeah, no, that's the most important position. Although a lot of people always say it's a score or whatever, but you can't make a save. You don't have a. They always say, what's the saying? If you have a choice between a good goalie and a good coach, you take the goalie.
Yeah, that's so true.
What about you, Coach? You got a good goalie then? See, look.
Yeah, we do actually. And that's
instead?
that's where I was going with it. We've had some really good goaltending lately. We've got Charlie Schenkel, who was at the Penguins camp last year, both the development camp and the main camp. And Lucas Massey's been very good for us. And we have a third, Troy Korkendorfer, who's also been outstanding. So we've got a good goalie room, as they say in football, not a quarterback room. And it's led by our guy that went to the Penguins training camp. And Massey was player of the week in the league 2 weeks ago. So we've got a good group of guys.
What is it like when you're watching a team like the Pittsburgh Penguins right now and you have this type of presence of a team and leaders and staples and icons like a Sidney Crosby and Gino and Letang that your guys have a privilege to be so close to and have something to emulate? I mean, do you talk about that? Is that something you feel lucky to have so close to your university?
Absolutely, and to get from the Army Island Sports Center up to Cranberry there, the practice rink, Lemieux Center is about 15 minutes, and our guys go up there all the time and watch practice, especially when we're practicing in the afternoon. I know that they find it to be really being able to watch the players perform at the highest level. It makes my job easier because they see how hard guys like Sidney Crosby work and guys how hard they work in practice, and I can hold them a little bit more accountable if they're not bringing it every day.
Yeah, you've been running this program, Derek, for about 20 years here in Pittsburgh. You know, how much hockey has evolved in Pittsburgh? You know, yes, there was Sidney Crosby, there was Mario before that, but I feel the Pens Elite and everything, the program itself, like how popular the sports has gotten, like, can you feel it around the city?
Oh, absolutely, and you bring that up to you brought the Lemieux era up. You have those kids who are a lot older. You got the Crosby era now, and you watch guys that have success and big-time hockey players too coming out of Pittsburgh, like younger guys like Trocheck and Miller and
Cooley
and Logan Cooley. I mean, you go down the list of Pittsburgh, and they're just getting better. And we always like to keep the best players at home, and we've always got a good group of guys from Pittsburgh. But you can see it every day, and that's it. Wow, there's some big-time chances in the first few minutes of this game.
Was that Manta or Brazo? That was Manta. Yeah. Wow.
We talked about him in the open. Now. He's been, fabulous for this team. He's looking for his 20th goal?
Yeah, 20th goal. It'd be his 4th 20th goal season.
Impressive.
But this year has been, he scored 25 one time in Washington, so he's playing well. He's so big. Him at the start of the season with Malkin and Brazo, like that line was so clutch and difficult to play against. But look at this move. He looks very confident with, and especially he's playing with Kindle, right? That's such a young centerman that's having such a great season. So what a save. Like we mentioned, Omar never lost against the Penguins too, so they're definitely feeling it there.
Underrated signing, when you say it, that people really didn't know much about in this town, and he's really showing himself to be pretty good.
Yeah, well, Dubas done a great job too. We mentioned it at the start of the show, like how, you know, it's kind of, you look at teams like New York Rangers that are talking to the media about rebuilding their team, you know, while the Penguins this year, maybe at the start of the year it was that, but now it's like, okay, who can we go get to win some games, you know? So it's definitely a change in Pittsburgh this year.
And a culture change as well, and culture can be so important. Max had talked, Coach, about going to morning skate, and he said the guys just seemed so loose, and it was really fun just to get to watch them. You could tell they were feeling it. What's the type of culture you try to implement at Robert Morris when you want guys to go there? What are you telling them? What's your program about?
Well, you want to, obviously, you want guys to be excited to come to the rink every day. I think that's the most important thing, and we've got the ability. We were in a great area. Pittsburgh's a beautiful city. And you want people that want to be a part of your program because they're always going to do a little bit more for you and for your team. And I think you have a great locker room. I think guys being excited to come to the rink is awesome. I think the biggest problem you have is when you're on this big winning streak to not let them get complacent. And that's the hardest thing, is when you have a little bit of a streak, to make sure they just continue, because you love winning hockey games and you got to keep it going.
Yeah, well, I always said, I had a chance to coach 1 year in San Diego with the goals in the American Hockey League. So I went to coach with Joel Bouchard down there for a season. And to me, it was always, and even good coach like Dan Balsamo, we won. I feel like good coach will be able to push more the team when they actually win. That's the time to go and to get them, yes, keep the fun going, but that's when you kind of keep them accountable and you got to push them a little bit. Because when you lose and you start pushing your team, guys will get like off a little bit, right? It's not the right time to be hard. So when you win and the vibe is good, that's when you go, let's go, guys. Pedal to the metal and be more accountable. And I don't know if it's something to, as a head coach, Derek, like, do you take care also of the recruitment and everything for Robert Morris?
Yeah, I have 2 assistants that are basically in charge. Their jobs are to coach and to recruit and do video. I've got all the other stuff besides coaching and being a part of recruiting, but I always liken it to kind of a baseball field. They got to go 7 innings between the 2 of them, and I've got to come in and be the closer.
You got to close it out.
Yeah, so I think at the time, yeah, there's a lot of different hats you wear, and working about your culture, working your team, making sure you're ready for practice, but also putting together the right team. We don't have a massive scouting staff like they do in the NHL, but yeah, the assistant coaches do a lot of the work, and they're in charge of coaching and getting you good hockey players.
What do you look for when you scout a player? And I know it's probably tough because the guys have so many options, right? But first of all, you have to sell your program. But once you're locked in on the player, what have you scouted that really gets the things going? Like, what is the first quality that you're going to look for when you're recruiting a player?
I think there's 3 things that we kind of look for right off the bat. You want to look for, obviously, skating ability, because college hockey's pro hockey's a marathon, college hockey's a sprint. We play 34 games plus. I mean, your playoffs could be 1 game, so it's a sprint. Pro hockey, you got 80 games plus a long playoff, so you've got to be. College hockey's a little bit more up and down and hectic compared to pro hockey, and so I think you got to be able to skate. Your compete level's got to be high. You've got to compete, and then hockey IQ, and you've got to be able to kind of do all that, because you got to throw that chaos and everything
Give
in with.
Give us 1 second, Coach. We want to hear all about that when we come back. We have to go to a quick break, so hold that thought.
On February 26th, join us to celebrate the 15th annual Penguins charity game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh and purchase one of our charity bags. When you purchase one of the black bags, you will have the chance to take home an autographed Penguins 2025-26 third jersey, selected at random, of Mario Lemieux, or a member of this season's Penguins roster. For the first time since the 2020 season, we will have a limited amount of black charity bags at PPG Paints Arena for those of you with tickets to see the Penguins and the Devils that night. Get your hands on these items before anyone else. For tickets for February 26th, visit Ticketmaster.com/Penguins. Proceeds from the charity game will benefit the Penguins Foundation and the Mario Lemieux Foundation.
Inside Penguins Hockey is back.
Let's go eat sushi.
For an all-new season.
And now he's your best friend.
Yeah. Hitting a line in the water is always a joy for me.
Inside Penguins Hockey. New episodes every month on Sportsnet Pittsburgh. Presented by UPMC Health Plan.
Welcome back to Unobstructed Views, an alternate way to enjoy Penguins hockey. I'm Hannah Mears alongside Stanley Cup champion Max Talbot, and we are joined by the head men's ice hockey coach, Derek Schooley, over at Robert Morris. We've been learning all about his team, his culture, their identity, and more importantly, how he recruits, who he recruits. And he was just talking about skateability and how being in NCAA hockey, it's a sprint as opposed to a marathon. And you were also talking about high hockey IQ. What are some other attributes you're looking at if young kids out there are watching and they want to come play for Robert Morris? Who should they be?
Yeah, I think those are three of the big ones. But then obviously you have to be able to play the game. But I think at times you can get away with being a good skater. You can get away with being having good compete level and great IQ that can get you go a long way. So I think those are obviously the biggest things that you look for. But obviously you have to be able to play the game at a high level too.
Well, and the dynamic of college hockey has changed. Specifically, there's NIL in college sports now, and recruiting is so different, and the entire college landscape has changed. And specifically, new to the NCAA this season was the ability for players from the Canadian Hockey League, right, the CHL, to transfer to NCAA without losing eligibility. I know Max has a hot take on this from his side. I think your opinions might differ. Here's a look at some of the notable Canadian junior transfers for any Penn State fans up there. You see Gavin McKenna, but the list goes on. They saw some of those guys play also at Penn State this past weekend in Beaver Stadium in that outdoor game, Michigan State and Penn State. But Coach, from your perspective, how did this benefit Robert Morris? And were you a fan of this?
Yeah, I think it's a long time coming. I think, we got a goal.
What a pass
there
by
we go.
Gino. Attaboy, Chinekov. That was a nice 2-on-1. Great assist by Gino. This is a big goal, against a good team that's hot right now. The Penguins are obviously hot, but it's a back and forth. I feel like it's an open game tonight. And look at his breakout here. Nice pass, go-ahead pass, and you got to drive the net. It's a 2-on-1. Nice, viable goal on Hallmark. I love it.
We talked a lot about Gino's leadership.
That's one of the things that young kids, they don't do a great job is drive the net. They want to wait and hold up and make it cute. And he went right to the net hard. That's something to show on video for us tomorrow. That's for sure.
There you go. Sure. We'll clip it and we'll make sure you're in it too, so they know that you were bringing the luck in that goal as well.
I had a chance to play with Evgeny Malkin also. So you close your eyes, you drive the net, and you just put your stick on the ice. It's easier. I would have not made this pass, but Gino Malkin, you just know where to go to the net.
You would have been going hard to the net, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Close your eyes, it's going to go in. Yeah.
But Coach, you were saying about the new rules in the NCAA this year. We'd love to hear what your opinion was.
Yeah, I think the great thing about this is it opens the player pool up to a larger group of people. Before you had to make a decision, and usually you had to make a decision at the age of 15 before you had to really knew what your options were, and you didn't know if you were going to develop into that top player. So you're making this decision when you're really sometimes not even through puberty. So I think that's an important thing. So now you've got the best of both worlds. And I think that it gives more people advantage. It makes our game better. I really believe that it has been a long time coming. And now you see there's pro hockey players that haven't received very much money that play in the East Coast League that are playing college hockey. This has really changed. The NIL and all this has really changed. But to have Gavin McKenna in college hockey and Porter Matone and that list, Roger McQueen, the list goes on of players that have just been really good coming from the CHL into NCAA. Gives you time to get bigger, stronger, and faster.
Yeah, and that's
a good point.
That's the biggest difference. Also, you were talking about the difference between NHL and college hockey is a marathon compared to sprint. Same thing with the CHL too. I'm a product of the CHL. I play in the QMJHL. It was great for me because I was a young guy with a beard and I would fight at 16, 17 years old. But on the contrary, I have players that your development is later, so you have a chance to go in an NCAA, get an education, make a little bit of money also, and work out to develop yourself. In the CHL, you can't develop yourself because you play 70 games a year.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that too on Max's contrary to that opinion as well when we come back.
On February 26th, join us to celebrate the 15th annual Penguins charity game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh and purchase one of our charity bags. With the purchase of a gold bag this year, you are guaranteed to receive an autographed Penguins 2025-26 third jersey by one of the following: Mario Lemieux, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, Erik Karlsson, Brian Rust, or Ricard Raquel. Plus, you'll receive this custom-framed 8x10 plaque honoring every 50-goal scorer in Pittsburgh Penguins history, celebrating one of the franchise's most elite achievements. Proceeds will benefit the Penguins Foundation and the Mario Lemieux Foundation. To see a complete list of the items available in each Penguins charity bag, log on to pittsburghpenguinsfoundation.org/charity game preview or scan the QR code on your screen. No one gets you ready for puck drop like Penguins Face Off Live. Pre-game insights, analysis, and a word straight from the coach. Penguins Face Off Live before every game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh. Presented by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Welcome back to Unobstructed Views, as we are privileged tonight and very grateful to have Robert Morris hockey head coach Derek Schooley, and congratulations to him. Getting 300 wins back in December is extremely impressive, but Coach Schooley has not just been somebody to bring a lot of wins to this program. He's physically been somebody who was able to save Robert Morris ice hockey here in Pittsburgh, and both for men's and women's ice hockey programs. And the community of Pittsburgh really bonded together at that time and came together. A lot of really important icons here, sports figures, everybody bonded together to make sure Robert Morris hockey was still going to be a thing at one point when the program was cut. Coach, I'm just curious at that time, if you can think back, like, what were your emotions like from, I'm sure, going through the frustrations and the anger of that happening, but then the really high highs of seeing how the community came together to make sure that your program continued on?
Yeah, it was up and down summer, that's for sure. You found out in May, and I can't say enough good things about the people that rallied to help save the program. It started with Ryan Malone, and I think Ryan was an outstanding ambassador for us. So we had a celebrity game, as you see video of it right now, and you go through the whole thing. Phil Bork was involved, Colby Armstrong, Sean Sweezum. Well, we talked about him,
Brett
the on-the-bench
Brett
guys.
Kiesel, friend of the
Brett
show
Kiesel,
here.
yeah. The Pirate Parrot. You can see them all playing into the game to help save the program. Colby Armstrong lit the Pirate Parrot up in our second All-Star game. He ran him straight at center ice. The first year he got mad at the Parrot because he kept screening our goalie, his goalie. So the next year he was on opposite teams and he ran him. So just really fun stuff that helped save the program. And you see Tyler Kennedy there. You go through the whole list of guys that were involved in this. And it was just a fun way to help save the program. But it was stressful. And thankful that the community allowed this to happen. And Robert Morris dove right back into Division I hockey and realized that this is great for the area, great for the community, and great to have college hockey in this city.
It's been so cool to see that transformation. It was awesome to have Brett Kiesel on the show, and he spoke so highly about that event, but also was so passionate about why it was important to help and getting your program back. And since then, Coach, have you seen just maybe another level of love and appreciation for the game, both by staff members, by players at that time, and yourself in particular, just how important it was, and realize, it could all go away in the blink of an eye?
Absolutely. We had an attitude of gratitude in that first year, and we wanted to be appreciative of everything and be appreciative to come to the rink, and we still are every day. And I think that to have our college hockey in Pittsburgh is such a exciting thing, and such a
yeah, that was certainly special.
Different.
Yeah,
it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, what got you to? I know you have a career. You went around different leagues when you played hockey. Like, what got you into coaching? Did you know, like, when you were playing, that you always wanted to be a coach?
Yeah, I did a lot of stuff with a company called Huron Hockey School. And I used to travel the country and teaching while I was playing college, and I would do that all summer. And I really enjoyed getting to know some of the college coaches that I worked with and talking to them about their job and their profession. And when it was time when I bounced around the East Coast League like a rubber ball, it was time to find my next goal in life. And got into coaching. I was fortunate to go to Cornell for a year. I was fortunate to be at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs for 5. And then I can't say enough how thankful I am to be the head coach of this program after being the assistant there. So I really wanted to do that. And I thought that was the next step of staying involved in the game.
There's a couple big games coming up next weekend, and I think that your both daughters are playing college hockey D1, right?
Yeah, I got my daughter Caitlin's a junior at Robert Morris. Very fortunate. Our first home games back, Caitlin got a chance, played, and she scored in the first Robert Morris game. If that wasn't fate,
No way.
I don't know what was. Yeah, the first home game when the programs came back, and my youngest daughter Taylor's now a freshman at the University of Delaware, which is a new program, and they play each other this weekend, Friday, Saturday at the Island Sports Center at 3 o'clock, and we play in the evening at 7 against Canisius. So it's really exciting to watch them play against each other. They played against each other earlier in the year. Robert Morris won both. My daughter, my oldest, Caitlin, was Player of the Week in the league, Defenseman of the Week in the league that week. So I didn't get a chance to see it. We were at Notre Dame that weekend, so I'm excited to see them play against each other. I will not be wearing anything one way or the other. I'm rooting for them both to have a great game.
I was going to ask if you had like the split jersey shirt. You know, we need to get you one of those for him. I didn't know if you had one of those in the wardrobe.
Yeah, I don't think that. Obviously, I love Robert Morris. I love my paycheck. I know where my paycheck comes from. I want Robert Morris to have success, but I also want my daughters to have success and really enjoy what they're doing at Delaware to start a new program as well after being through it here. So I think that it'll be a fun weekend for our family, but we'll see. We'll see who comes out on top.
Well, we talked about Penn's Elite for men hockey and how Pittsburgh hockey evaluated through the years. Same thing with the girls also. Like it's been all Pittsburgh development and everything, and they went and used the Penguins Elite program to get where they are now.
Yeah, that's where my daughters grew up. My oldest went to Gilmore Academy after playing for Penn's Elite, then came back and played for Penn's Elite. My youngest, Taylor, played for Penn's Elite, also played in Philadelphia for the Junior Flyers. But you can't say enough good things about the program that the Penguins have put towards girls hockey. Kathy Pippi has done great. Sean Sweezum, we talked about him with helping save the hockey program. He's been involved. And then you have people like former Colonials like Leah Marino, who's the coach, and Brittany Howard. Those are players that are now giving back and coaching girls. So I think you can't put words to how hockey is growing in Pittsburgh at the highest levels, and you see it, but it also starts with the Penguins and the grassroots levels. It starts with the youth hockey programs, the A leagues and the AA leagues and the learn to play. So there are all those and funnels all the way to the top with Penn's Elite. And we're very lucky. I don't think people realize the amount of that they put into hockey here in Pittsburgh, and the Penguins do that.
Like, this is such an interesting subject because in Quebec right now, we have a lot of talks about player development. There's less and less players coming out from Quebec in the NHL. The Canadian hockey, the World Juniors, we haven't been doing as well as we should. Obviously, hockey's became international. For you to develop a young hockey player, where does it start? Is it the quality of coaching, the number of ice time, multi-sport, doing different sports? Like, how would you develop a young hockey player, man or woman, nowadays?
I think what you just said is all the way. All those things are very important. I think we're a product of also overtraining, specializing in hockey way too young. I think they need to play other sports. They need to play baseball in the summer. They need to be out playing soccer. Those things develop athleticism. So I think those are important. I think sometimes we just want to specialize way too early. And I think more sports, the better. It creates a better athlete. And then as you get older, then start figuring out what you want to do. But there's a lot of these, like the Sidney Crosby program for young kids. My son is playing in the North American Hockey League in Junior A in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And he started with the Sidney Crosby Learn to Play. He got the free equipment when he was 3. Those things are all big things to help develop in. But you hit it right on the head with multi-sport, learn to play, coaching, more touches on the puck, not making sure that you just play games. You got to get out and you have to practice.
Yeah.
You don't want them to lose the love of it too early, right? I think that's happening a lot more as athletes are starting to specialize younger.
Yeah.
They kind of lose the fun of it because it becomes a job so young.
Oh, for sure. And parents, like you just mentioned, parents want to play the games, but it's in practice and it's, the skills. I'm coaching. I'm a coach myself. We're going to the Pee Wee International Pee Wee tournament this year in Quebec City, which is the biggest tournament in the world. And all the parents are asking me, how can I develop my kid? I mean, parents want them to be in game situation early because they want their son to score goals and everything, but they don't have the basic abilities of shooting or saucing the pucks or realizing where's the open ice, the hockey IQ. The recipe is so complicated. You need to be an athlete too, natural athlete, but that's by doing other sports. And it's a complicated recipe, the mental aspect of it. But it's so fun to talk about it. But I want to come back to your 2 daughters and girl hockey too. The PWHL, I mean, we have a team in Montreal that's doing very well, professional league. It gives them the opportunity to, there's going to be a break. No, because there's a penalty. So let's come back to this. But
yeah, we'd love to finish up talking about some of that because it's super important and obviously something that we talk extensively about when we get the opportunity. So when we come back, more about the PWHL and how coaches' daughters might have been impacted that at one point or another.
High stick.
And also the Penguins trying to kill another power play here as well, Max. All of that and more when we come back on Unobstructed Views.
The Penguins charity game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh is returning for the 15th straight season. On Thursday, February 26th, tune in to purchase this year's retro-inspired Platinum Charity Duffel Bag. Each Platinum Charity Bag features a limited edition autographed Marc-Andre Fleury 2009 Stanley Cup Final Penguins jersey, an 8x10 autographed photo of the Big Three presented in a custom frame made from player-used sticks, a Mario Lemieux autographed Penguins helmet, and a Chris Letang autographed 2025-26 Penguins third jersey. All that plus many more great pieces of Penguins memorabilia honoring the legendary players, management, and moments in Pittsburgh Penguins history. Proceeds will benefit the Penguins Foundation and the Mario Lemieux Foundation. To see a complete list of the items available in each Penguins charity bag, log on to pittsburghpenguinsfoundation.org/charity game preview or scan the QR code on your screen.
Here, we don't just watch the Penguins, we live every tipped puck.
Unbelievable.
Every battle.
You need more of this.
Every new prospect.
This is a glimpse of the future.
Everything you love about the Pens, we do too.
I'm down here between the benches.
You know what that means, Pens fans?
Cheers to that.
Welcome back to Unobstructed Views. Our guest, head coach of Robert Morris men's ice hockey, Derek Schooley, has been joining us. And if you want to catch the Colonials in action, they are at home at Clearview Arena Friday and Saturday this weekend, Moon Township at 7 p.m. Don't miss it. Show up, support the Colonials, and support Coach Schooley. Looking forward to that matchup for sure. I mean, what are you thinking? The nerves kicking in? You feeling confident? What's it going to take to get those wins back to back?
Well, we're 3 points out of what are we? 3 points. We're in 3 points out of 4th place, and that's 1 win. And we play Canisius 4 times. They're 3 points ahead of us. We have them for the next 6 games, so we're kind of chasing them down. We've got more points right now than we had all of last year, so and we have 8 games left. So we've had a good little run here to get us in the mix for home ice in the first round, which we'd like to be able to do, which is finishing in 4th. And it'll be exciting to get to battle Canisius. We haven't played them all year. We're in game we got 8 games left, and we got 4 of the last 8 against them. So it'll be fun to try to chase them down.
What's been the biggest difference from you talked about the teams doing better than last year? What's been you talked a little bit about goaltending at the start of the interview. It's been what's been the biggest difference from this year to last year?
Well, we've got an older group of guys. We're still having a little bit of trouble scoring goals, but we're finding ways to win games lately. We went through a little stretch that was difficult because we weren't scoring a lot of goals. And it's hard to score goals at all levels of hockey. And you talked about development. Everybody wants to score. Everybody wants to make it to the NHL right out of the Quebec Pee Wee tournament.
Yeah.
That's the next stop, right?
For sure.
So I think we got to work on habits around the net. We got to work on finishing plays, kind of like that one right there. And when you have this chance, not your execution has to be on par. And you're talking about one of the best players in the world right there, who fans on a puck with a wide open net.
Yeah.
We seem to do that a lot, but we're getting good goaltending. We're defending hard. Our forecheck is really taking some big steps, and the little things in hockey right now, the blocking of shots, all the thing that we talked about, the compete level, I think those are things that we've been doing very well lately.
Yeah, the habits and the details, but you mentioned something when we started to talk to you about, and it was, for me, it was Mike Polino that told me that. He coached me in an international program with Team Canada, and he said the rink should be a destination, right? So the season can be so grinding sometimes, whether at any level, you know. So you start by saying, you know, we need to come to the rink and have fun, and I think it starts there also, right? Because that's where you learn the most, and when you get excited to show up to the rink, that's when you develop yourself, I feel.
Yeah, I think that obviously you have to get a mix of fun, but a mix of work too.
Yeah.
And you have to bring it all together. And I think those are the most important things. Like today, we have a deal with our guys. If our games are worth 3 points, and our deal is if you get 4 of 6, we get Monday off because we play all of our games on Friday, Saturday. Ooh. And we've taken the last 2 Mondays off. Today we had to come to the rink and practice because we won in a shootout, so we got 2 of 6. But so they came to work for today, but we also had some fun. We did some skill stuff that was fun stuff. We did some small games. We did some competitive stuff that involved some conditioning after if you won or lost. So it forces you to compete and work on scoring goals, work on battling with a little work involved, but it's fun work because you're battling your friends. You're battling guys that you're going to have in your wedding in 10 years. You're battling all these people that you grew up with, and you're competing, and there's a winner or a loser in everything.
That's the best way to learn, of course. Like, you know, I will always remember Sidney Crosby and Marc-Andre Fleury competing until the end of the whistle, and it was slowing down every drills because Sid wouldn't stop until he would score or the puck would be frozen. But it's all about competition, and let me tell you, I would have been a great player for you because I love days off. Because it was green light the night before, right? I would have been in Southside.
Coach, you would have been making sure you didn't have days off for Max. Everybody but Max.
We're college here. We're not taking days off to go to the Southside. That's for sure.
Oh, that's too bad because that's where you bond, right? That's where you learn.
It's the North Shore now, anyway. It's the North Shore.
This is true. It's different.
That's true. Southside has become too dangerous. Yeah. But this is great.
Man.
The Penguins have been playing it's a good first period, right? The Ottawa team is a skilled team, right? With Chuck and Stützle and Claude Giroux's having a great season also as a veteran. So do you believe in a chance, like I was talking about the Penguins this year and how the East is so open? You told us that you follow the team a little bit. Like, do you believe that the Penguins could make a run? Right now, their percentage of making a playoff, I think, is over 80% at this time of the year, you know, right before the Olympic break. Do you believe in the Penguins that they could have a chance to make a push this year?
Oh, absolutely. And I think Dan Mears has done a great job. And we talked about Kyle Dubas and some of his signings. They've got just a different attitude and youthful enthusiasm. And I think that comes from the head coach. And I've known Dan since he was in college hockey. I saw him at Eddie Johnstone's 90th birthday party a couple weeks ago, and he was at Yale. He won a national championship here in Pittsburgh when he was at Yale at PPG Paints Arena. So why not bring a Stanley Cup here too and raise a couple different trophies in this building? But I think they just got a different energy about them this year. And that's always exciting. Like you said, coming to the rink, they forecheck hard, and they've got some superstars that are still having a good years.
To say the least, Coach. I think you've said it all perfectly there. If there's a pitch as to why the Pittsburgh Penguins can win it all, it's said right there by Derek Schooley. Hey, Coach, we really, really appreciated you stopping by. It was great to hear about your program. We can't wait to watch Robert Morris on the ice, as those games this weekend, Friday and Saturday, will be aired on our network on Sportsnet Pittsburgh. And also, we can't wait to see who wins the Family Feud round 2 between the Schooley girls. So good luck to both of your daughters this weekend as well, Coach, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Just considering how well the Penguins have played defensively since the break, and our great producer, Nick Belsky, came up with some really good numbers in the last 15 games since the break. Goals allowed, first in the NHL at 2.07. Shots allowed, eighth in the NHL. The PK, third. They've done a lot of this, again, with Carlson out of the lineup, Letang out of the lineup. Here comes St. Ivany with an injury. Other guys have stepped up. The goalies have done a wonderful job, obviously, over this recent stretch. What has changed for the Penguins leading to their success, maybe within their own defensive zone? You could look at a lot of different things because there's been a lot of change. Are they all just meshing at the right time? Is it maybe a little bit of a combination of the teams that they're playing and the offense that they are facing against those teams? I think it's a mix, but whatever the case is, you like what you see.
Yeah, you do. Well, to answer your question, I'll start from the all the way back with the goalies. And this is no disrespect. This is just reality to Tristan Jarry and Alex Nedeljkovic last year, that right now Stuart Skinner and Artur Shilovs are giving the Penguins way more saves. It doesn't matter when in the game it is, whether it's those saves in the first few minutes of the game, the Penguins give up some opportunities, whether it's those saves late to preserve a lead, they're getting them this year. They didn't get them last year. Like, that's just the reality. It is what it is. Anyone who watched those games could make that assumption. And that's been huge. And both of those guys obviously are feeling confident. I think two guys in my mind deserve a lot of credit here that are not going to be front of mind, but you and I both know that they're right there and right at the mix. Is first with the goalies is Andy Chiodo. He was the only guy, aside from Madison Nickel, the video coach, that stayed on from last year's staff to this year's staff. And he's now had to learn, after probably feeling like, okay, I got a grasp on Artur Shilovs. I already know Tristan Jarry. And then Jarry gets traded. He's had to learn another brand new goalie and work with Stuart Skinner. And I think that his work with those two guys has been part of an unsung hero type situation for this team, and how he's gotten them stabilized, and the team as a result stabilized and playing really well. And the other guy is Mike Stothers. And I actually talked to Dan Mears about him on Penguins Game Plan. I know you've done some interviews with him on the bench. He is a character. He is a well-traveled veteran in this league. He's been around forever, recently beat cancer and was, out of coaching for a little bit because of that, has returned, has been, I think, a breath of fresh air for how that blue line has been run. And I think he keeps things loose, but I think Dan Mears, they have this approach of letting guys play through mistakes that they make, as opposed to just getting on the ice, being a little bit tentative that if they make a mistake, they're going to be riding the pine on the bench for the next couple shifts. And I think the other side of it is, I think this coaching staff's pretty honest with them that when you don't have a Chris Letang and you don't have an Erik Karlsson, there is not going to be any riding of the pine, because everyone needs to just kind of focus on the next shift. Even if the previous one wasn't great, you need all hands on deck. And I think, whatever the messaging has been behind closed doors, it's been received throughout this group. But particularly on the back end, and it helps, right? Like Parker Wotherspoon, career year, and he's been an unbelievable find from Kyle Dubas. Ryan Shea, career year. St. Ivany is already having a career year. These kind of things matter, and they go a long way towards confidence. And the other thing that I would say that might end up being one of the greatest things that Kyle Dubas has done this year. Now, we still have a couple months, and you still have a month or so to the trade deadline, so we'll see what happens. But getting Brett Kulak in that trade with Edmonton was an absolute heist. I think this guy, the more that I watch him, the more I think to myself, why would you willingly trade this guy if you're Edmonton and you think you're going to contend for a Stanley Cup? Like, I understand he's at the end of his contract. He's a great skater. He's a great top four defenseman. He's a veteran. The immediate respect that he has in that room is impressive. I think he plays a stingy game, but he's got a little bit of snarl. And he's obviously shown he has a little bit of offensive aspect to his game as well, too. So I think he's kind of been a nice stabilizer, veteran presence in there when the Letangs and Carlson were out of the lineup. But I do think there's been a belief built to a point now that, whether it's fool's gold or what with some of these guys mentally, when they don't have their big guns on the blue line, they kind of think, okay, well, I can handle this. And for the most part, they have.
And let's also remember that Kulak brings a little talent as far as the QP position on the power play, which came into play with Carlson and Letang dealing with recent injuries. So there's that other added bonus as well. And I don't know if everyone is scratching their heads in Edmonton, but you're right. I think there's a belief here that, hey, thanks. We could certainly use this guy, and he's been very helpful so far. You mentioned the lefty-righty situation when it comes to bringing in defensemen and asking them to play on their offside, if you will. But the left side has been strong for the Penguins with Wotherspoon, Kulak, and Shea. What do you like about what they've been able to do from that side when allowed to play that side?
Yeah, that's a microcosm of the Penguins season in general, Dan, don't you think? Yeah. Because if we were talking in September with our producer, Nick Belsky, and we said, hey, we're going to be doing a Get Me the Brandy end of January, and the Penguins' left side of the defense is going to be Parker Wotherspoon, Ryan Shea, and Brett Kulak, where do you think we would have thought we'd be? Guess what?
It would be interesting.
Yeah, but that's my point. Career year for Shea, career year for Wotherspoon. Kulak's been an unbelievable ad. I think these guys have all exceeded expectations, as have the Penguins in general this year. But the thing that I really enjoy, and I'll go over all three. Like, to start with Wotherspoon, the Penguins, I think Andy Socher deserves a lot of credit in player development and targeting, has been pro scouting with the Penguins because he kind of spearheaded the effort, as I understand it, to go after guys like Parker Wotherspoon and Justin Brazeau and Anthony Mantha, guys of that ilk this summer, who he felt like, especially with Wotherspoon, had just come off a year where they'd seen more usage and more opportunity than they ever had. I mean, if you go back last year, Wotherspoon's in Boston, Hampus Lindholm, Charlie McAvoy, both with long-term injuries. Even though the Bruins weren't very good, he bumps up in that lineup, sees a lot of opportunity, and I think as a result, starts to build a little more confidence. And, he gets a little bit of term here with the 2-year deal that maybe wasn't out there from other teams, and he's flourished. Ryan Shea has just slowly built. And I remember talking to Ryan in training camp, and you looked at that left side, as we just highlighted, that Penguins blue line. And I think he really understood, and I know the messaging was there from the management going into the summer, that you're going to have an opportunity to take a spot there, but you have to take it. It's certainly not going to be handed to you. You've been a 6th or 7th defenseman for a lot of your NHL career and floating in the minors prior to that. But if you want to be in, you can be in if you put the effort in and you make the commitment. And to his credit, as I understood it, there was maybe a week or two off last year after the season ended, and he was on the ice right away. And he hasn't really looked back. I mean, he's played every game, knock on wood, for the Penguins, and has been extremely productive. Another guy, like you mentioned with Kulak, Shea got some opportunity on the power play with Carlson and Letang out too. And Kulak I highlighted a little while ago, but I just can't say enough about how steady and sturdy he's been for the Pens.
I didn't know that Andy Saucier had something to do with Parker Wotherspoon being acquired by the Penguins. So you're saying that the Penguins ordered a side of sauce in acquiring him?
Yeah, maybe an extra side with
extra
all the
side
players
of
they
sauce.
got. Yeah,
that's right. Oh, I didn't know that. That's and it's funny because when Andy was in his previous role doing video, you used to see him all the time, and now
right.
not as much. And I bumped into Andy, his wife, and their children at a coffee shop here before morning skate, and I was like, well, I can't believe the first time I've actually seen you this season in January is in a coffee shop, because he's now in this different role. For those that don't know, great dude, just a great guy, and again, very talented before. And now to see him in this role that he's been in with for a couple seasons with the Penguins, it's just great. So it's awesome to see that he's already put his fingerprints on helping the Penguins be better in the big picture.
Yeah, definitely. He gets a lot of behind the scenes credit, and I think the Penguins probably don't. He's not recognized as much, by everybody. When we talk about it, it's always Kyle, Jason Spezza, Amanda Kessel, Vuki, and Pofu. But let's give our guy Sauce some flowers because he deserves some extra sauce.
Some extra sauce. That's right.
Bienvenue. Welcome back to Unobstructed Views. How's that French, Max Talbot?
Good, Anna. Good job.
Over at PPG Paints Arena, they are celebrating Black Hockey History Month with the Black Hockey History Game tonight, and that is the Willie O'Ree Community Hero Award alongside of the Stanley Cup. We will talk much more about that, the night, and the importance of this month throughout the history of hockey. More on Unobstructed Views. I'm Hannah Mears alongside Stanley Cup champion Max Talbot, who, yes, he speaks French, people, if you didn't know, and you might hear a lot of it in this segment because he is very excited for our next guest, and I am too. Really excited to see what the possibility of the Pittsburgh Penguins' future looks like. And we have a glimpse of that tonight as we now welcome in the Penguins' first-round draft pick, 19-year-old Bill Zonnon. Bill, thank you for joining our show.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Comment ça va, Bill? Ça va bien?
Ça va bien, toi?
We're gonna do this segment in French, and we should subtitle the thing because he's a French Canadian from Quebec City, and we both played our junior. Well, I played there for 3 months, but in Rouyn-Noranda in Quebec, you played 3 great years there, and now you got traded this summer for l'Armada Blainville-Boisbriand, which is a team close to Montreal. How is your season going so far this year?
Yeah, season has been tough. Especially at the start, battling an injury there. I missed, a little bit more than 2 months, but now I'm back. I feel great. Our team is doing great recently. I'm having some big games as well. So yeah, we're looking forward to the playoffs, and our goal is to win the Memorial Cup. So.
Yeah.
Puck drop here in the second period. Pittsburgh up 1-0. And when we're talking about the QMJHL where you play, there are some legends on this ice who have had experience in that league. There is somebody sitting very close to me who has experience in that league as well, in Max Talbot. When you hear those names, like Max Talbot, a guy who's hoisted that Stanley Cup, guys like Sidney Crosby, Mario Lemieux, Chris Letang, the list goes on. What does it mean to play in a league that created so many NHL greats?
Yeah, it means a lot. Obviously, like you said, there's a lot of guys that had a lot of success at the NHL level that came from that league. So, why can it not be me? So, it's just motivation, and it's nice to have all those role models as well for me to follow.
If we talk about the Penguins here, I'm an ex-Penguins. Who would be your favorite all-time Pittsburgh Penguins?
You don't have to say Max.
He told me in French earlier to say him.
I'm like,
no, I gotta go with Sidney Crosby, obviously. On the ice, such a great player, and off the ice, such a good person. So, pretty easy pick for me.
Did you get to meet Sid when you were at development camp? Did your paths cross? Have you met him before that?
Yeah, my first time meeting him was at development camp and obviously training camp as well. I was injured there, so I spent around 6 or 7 weeks in Pittsburgh, so I was around the team for a little bit and got to talk to him a couple of times.
Is there any memories? Like, I know my first development camp, right? I get there, you just get drafted, you get on the ice for development camp. That's one thing because you're with all the rookies, but then you get to real camp, and I will always remember my first drill, and it was a stupid drill. You start from the corner, there's 3 lines, and you just got to pass the puck around and move up the ice and then come back and the Senators just scored a goal there. So I didn't see it, how the play developed, but that's tough. At the start, we always start end of the period, start of the period,
get the momentum,
and they just scored a big goal there for the Senators. Let me see just the goal, Bill. Oh, that's Gino Malkin, just a bad turnover, I think. Yeah, move the puck. Come on, you can't do that, Gino. I didn't show you that way. Right?
That's not how you showed Gino.
Yeah. So
Max would have not have made that mistake.
No. So my first kind of welcome moment to NHL was I was doing this drill and I show up and I'm in a line beside Mario Lemieux, right? And for me it was like, okay, what am I doing there? I got all stressed up. Is there any specific memory you got from main camp and with Sid and everything, a conversation you had with him?
Yeah, well, for me it was a little bit different because I was injured, so I didn't skate with those guys at all. But I'd say the first real day of training camp when most of the rookies are mixed up with the vets, I walked into a trainer's room and opened the door and I see Sid right there sitting with a couple other guys like Gino was on the table. Kevin Hayes was in there as well, Raquel. So, you know, on the first day you walk in and you see all those guys just standing there and having a talk. So it's definitely a weird moment, but yeah, that's what I remember the most about meeting those guys.
Did they say hi to you? Was it casual? Did you have to introduce yourself? Were you nervous at all, or did they kind of welcome you in right away with open arms?
Yeah, I was definitely nervous for a second, but Sid was the first one to kind of make the move. He just, you know, said, "What's up? How are you doing?" and shook his hand and shook hands with the other guys as well. So that made it a lot easier.
Yeah, I was reading a little bit about you to prepare for this interview, and I read some stuff about, you know, one of your model a little bit of PK Subban in Montreal. You know, you grew up watching PK Subban because he was one of the top players with the Montreal Canadiens. Now he worked on ESPN. We saw him yesterday during the Winter Classic. You know, he's great at what he does now. What impression did he leave on you? And I read the word swag a little bit, you know, like confidence and swag. What does this mean to you?
Yeah, well, obviously for me, just being from Montreal, watched him a lot growing up. He's one of the reasons why I started playing hockey. And what excited me the most about him is, like you said, the swag he had when he was on the ice. And even off the ice, he was such a big role model for kids here. He did a lot of stuff off the ice, community work, and for hospitals and all that stuff. So growing up, when you have someone like that as a role model, definitely helps you shape the person you want to be. And I can't really say I want to be like him, but there's definitely some stuff from him that I try to take away, and just being myself and being a confident person, which leads to me just being a confident player on the ice as well.
How would you identify your play on the ice? Because reading about you, I've heard the descriptions of he's a physical tank on the ice, but how would you identify yourself and your style of play and what you try to bring to the game?
Yeah, I think I'd like to describe myself as a power forward. I really take pride in just playing a complete game, defensively, offensively, someone that can play in all situations. And, you know, like you said, I like to get in the dirty areas, win my battles, and like I said, again, just be a complete player. That's my goal.
Well, I love hearing about confidence and swag coming from a young player, you know, because it's something, if you want to achieve your dream, achieve your goal, play in the NHL, it starts there, right? You got to believe in yourself. You can't be cocky about it, but you have to have that belief, that swag, because a lot of players, you know, they go and they just go through it in some way, but you have to provoke things, right? And that's one advice I have, because I love hearing that from young players. You'd rather be overconfident than not enough confidence. So keep that up. And we just saw some clip of you driving the net.
Were you impressed, Max, by those little clips that we saw?
For sure. Like, I mean, you look like a better looking, like bigger Max Talbot, you know, and I hope that you'll be able to do that at the NHL level. And I've seen you play, I've seen you on the ice also, and I respect your game and your grit and your will, and don't lose that aspect of that. You know, you look at you driving the net there and everything. So it's great. I want to go back to your first 3 years in the QMJHL and your trade of this summer. You know, were you surprised to be traded? And how does these first season in the Q, you know, Rouyn-Noranda, just for people watching, is about, you know, 7 hours up north Quebec. It's a little isolated place. It's a good hockey program. But talk to me a little bit about your first 3-year junior and the trade of this summer.
Yeah, I mean, I loved my 3 years there. Like you said, it's 7 hours away from Montreal. So sometimes it scares a lot of people just moving away from your family. It's pretty cold up there. There's not much to do, but, you know, for me, it was always just about playing hockey, going to school as well. And like you said, it's a good development organization. So I knew that going there, I would become a good player, a good person, and it would lead to me just being a NHL draft pick. So that's all I ever wanted, and I knew that it was the right spot for me. And then obviously the trade, right? Like, I knew a little bit that it was going to come just because the direction the team was going and where I wanted to do for my last year junior. So I wanted to be on a competitive team that would have a very good chance at potentially winning. So I knew it was coming, and was very grateful for it to, you know, come down to the team here in Blainville that's 30 minutes away from Montreal, so it's great.
I'm sure you watch a lot of NHL games, you know, and you had your draft interview last summer. Like, when I would ask you, like, what type of player, you look at the NHL, what type of player do you identify with? You know, they'd probably ask you that at the draft, you know. What other player can you compare yourself to that you aspire to be in the NHL?
Yeah, I love Adrian Kempe in LA. Again, I think he's just a power forward that plays in all the situations. So I'm definitely not there yet, but he's a player that I like to model my game after, and hopefully one day I can have the impact he has on this team as well.
Where did your love of hockey begin? We are in a break zone here, so I'm sorry if we're going to have to cut you off in a second, but where did your love of hockey begin? When did you decide you wanted to lace up the skates and take the ice?
I'd say I was around 5 or 6 years old, and again, just watching PK Subban and the Canadiens. Obviously, everyone knows that hockey is so big here in Montreal, so it's almost impossible to not hear about it or not watch any of the games. So I just told my parents one day that I wanted to start playing hockey, and obviously over time we kind of realized that I was pretty good at it.
When was maybe the moment you were like, oh, hey, I could be really good at this for a while. This could be what I do for a living.
I'd say it really hit me when I got drafted in the QMJHL. Obviously, it's the first step towards, you know, the draft and the NHL and all that stuff. So when I got drafted in the top 10, I kind of realized that, okay, if I put in the work and I do the right stuff, then I might have a chance at it.
That is so. I can put myself back in a situation of Bill there, and I was not a first rounder in the NHL. I was an 8th rounder, which there's not even 8th round anymore. But it comes with pressure, like being a first rounder. Also, like, how did you live your draft this summer? Did you feel a little bit extra pressure because you're a first rounder, or are you just gonna go through it and you're like, hey? Because for me, I remember I was the 8th rounder, so you know that there's 7 guys before you in the team that got drafted, right? So I had a goal in mind showing up to camp. I'm like, I got to beat 7 guys. You know, and I have about 3 years to do that. Being a first rounder is a different position, and sometimes to me, I would have rather been a 2nd rounder sometime than a first rounder. Because yes, you're gonna have more opportunities sometimes because the team will be patient with you and it will let you develop because they want to show that they made the right pick, right? But at the same time, you better be good. So how do you live with kind of that pressure of being a first rounder, and how do you see your development coming up in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think, you know, I've always told myself that pressure is a privilege. Not everyone gets to get the same amount of pressure than, you know, like you said, a first round pick gets. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think I got drafted in the first round for a reason. You know, I have the talent, I have the skill, I have the mindset to, you know, be a good player. So I think it's up to me to do the right stuff and work every day to just become the best version of myself. And yeah, you know, I think that I got drafted there for a reason, and it's up to me to prove it to everyone. We just saw a picture of you, or video of you getting drafted, walking with your jersey, Penguins jersey, and I saw that you have number 25 on it. Is it in my honor? Because I was number 25. Yeah? Yeah, it is. It is. I'm just surprised I haven't retired it yet. Yeah. That's true, huh?
Hang it in the rafters.
When is this coming about? Like, you see, number 25? Like, I
think you need a jersey swap. I think you need a jersey swap
not
at
a
some
swap.
point.
Like, Bill is right. I think my number should, you know, we should talk to the team. Like, maybe it should be in the rafter.
Yeah, I think so. I think we need to, somebody send this clip to Jen. Max wants to be, his jersey needs to be retired. Hang it in the rafters with all the legends.
At least the Ring of Honor.
At least
the Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor.
You know, I would like that.
Well, you were just talking about pressure being a privilege, though. I mean, that's a little bit of pressure to have to maybe wear number 25. Now that you know Max, too, I mean, come on.
Yeah, it is. We'll see. I'm not sure if 25 is going to be my number, but whoever's going to wear 25 is going to have big shoes to fill.
Oh, yeah. It'll be an honor if you wear my jersey, man. Like, fellow French-Canadian and everything. You're in a good program this year. You mentioned you got traded this summer. He plays for Blainville, l'Armada. There's a team that are going for it with a lot of other good prospects, you know. You said your goal was to win the Memorial Cup this year. I know there's a lot of good teams in the queue. Like, how do you see your season going so far? You believe in your chances to win?
Yeah, obviously we believe in our chances. We made a lot of trades over the summer and even during the Christmas trade deadlines. So we have the team to win it. Now it's just a question of putting it all together and playing the right way. But we definitely believe in our chances. And
Hey,
yeah,
Bill,
we're
one
happy.
second. We have to go to break. We're going to be rooting for you, though. We're going to talk more about your draft experience with the Penguins when we come back.
The Penguins charity game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh is returning for the 15th straight season. On Thursday, February 26th, tune in to purchase this legendary retro-inspired Penguins charity canvas duffel bag, which draws inspiration from the bold new 2025-26 third jersey. The Penguins gold is reminiscent of Mario Lemieux and the Penguins of the 1980s. The Penguins word mark is displayed on the carrying strap, and the zipper pulls are color coordinated by bag level. 3 bag tiers will be available once again, featuring various items honoring iconic players, management, and moments in Pittsburgh Penguins history. Proceeds help the missions of both the Penguins Foundation and Mario Lemieux Foundation. To see a complete list of the items available in each Penguins charity bag, log on to pittsburghpenguinsfoundation.org/charity game preview or scan the QR code on our screen.
The road to puck drop begins on Penguins Tonight. A first look at the latest game news, stories from around the league, and so much more. Penguins Tonight, 1 hour before every game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh. Presented by Morgan & Morgan.
Welcome back to Unobstructed Views, and congratulations to our guest, one of the Penguins' first-round draft picks, Bill Zonnon, as he was drafted in the 2025 draft, 22nd overall, right here to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Bill, you are all smiles in these videos. We talked about wearing 25, obviously, because of the 2025 draft, but we'll say it's because of Max Talbot, because he's very excited about that, hanging in the rafters. But Bill, take us back to that day a little bit. What was it like for you when you finally got to hear your name be the one being called, and by Chris Letang and his son Alex, a really special moment to get to see that to begin with. But what was that moment for you?
Yeah, it was incredible. Obviously, as a kid, you start playing, not really knowing, where you're going to end up or what's going to happen in the future. So for that day to come by and to be there with my family, and then obviously hearing my name called was definitely special, and especially by Chris Letang, again, another guy from Quebec, and his son. That was nice as well, and could have not asked for a better organization than the Penguins.
Were the Penguins a team that were on your radar at all? I know when I had talked to a lot of guys when I covered football in the past, talking about the NFL draft, and it was usually the team they least expected drafted them. I mean, when did you know maybe Pittsburgh was a possibility? Did you think at all that they were a possibility?
Yeah, well, at the Combine, I talked to them, and I had a double interview, and they were the only team that I had a double interview with. So, it was a good, starting point. And then it was weird because they had picks 11 and 12, and, I expected to go around 20 to 25, and with them picking 11 and 12, I didn't really think it would be a possibility. And then they ended up trading back. And as soon as they did that, I looked at my sister. I said, "That's good." And I kind of had a voice in my head that told me I was going there at 22. And obviously it happened, so I was pretty happy.
You're pretty lucky about that, because I was listed about in the 80 something, and I got drafted 234th. So it didn't really go as I planned. So you're lucky that you went in with a plan and it actually worked out. But a question about, because you're drafting the Combine and all the interviews are so fresh in your mind, was there, I know looking back, like from me, we're going back about 20 years ago when I got drafted, like this has changed a lot. The science behind the draft and the Combine and all the the psychometric test. Is there anything that surprised you in type of questions and the interviews? And it can be the Penguins, but it can be any other interviews you went through. Is there any like questions you're like, why are they asking me this?
Yeah, well, I think like most teams do kind of a questionnaire with all like mental questions. So it's not really questions about hockey or family or anything like that. It'll be the questions like, are you the type of person that, you know, makes their bed in the morning and stuff like that. So those questions are a little bit weird and they kind of get annoying, but I guess that it helps teams figure out what kind of person you are.
Well, do you make your bed in the morning? What was the answer to that question?
I do not.
Bill!
And you were honest about it? You said you did. You did.
Was, yeah.
That's good. You got to be honest. If I can, I'm going to tell you a little draft story from my junior time, okay? So I'm 15 years old. It's my junior draft, and you go through a hotel, and it's like a car wash. You talk to every team, and I will always remember I did an interview with the Drummondville Voltigeur. I was a first rounder at QMJHL, and the interview goes well, and it's the interview where your dad is there because you're 15, right? So the interview goes well. At the end of the interview, the GM asked my dad and I, is there any question you have for us? And I'm like, no, it's all good. It went well. And my dad's like, yeah, I have, you forgot a question to ask my son. And I was like, what is he going? Where is he going? And so the guy's like, yeah, Mr. Talbot, like, what's the question that we forgot? And oh, there's a break. Hey, stay tuned, guys. It is such a good story.
This is a cliffhanger.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, it is good.
You can't go anywhere without knowing this answer.
On February 26th, join us to celebrate the 15th annual Penguins charity game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh and purchase one of our charity bags. When you purchase one of the black bags, you will have the chance to take home an autographed Penguins 2025-26 third jersey selected at random of Mario Lemieux or a member of this season's Penguins roster. For the first time since the 2020 season, we will have a limited amount of black charity bags at PPG Paints Arena for those of you with tickets to see the Penguins and the Devils that night. Get your hands on these items before anyone else. For tickets for February 26th, visit Ticketmaster.com/Penguins. Proceeds from the charity game will benefit the Penguins Foundation and the Mario Lemieux Foundation.
Inside Penguins Hockey is back
Let's go eat sushi.
for an all-new season.
And now he's your best friend.
Yeah. Getting a line in the water is always a joy for me.
Inside Penguins Hockey. New episodes every month on Sportsnet Pittsburgh. Presented by UPMC Health Plan.
Welcome back to Unobstructed Views. I'm Hannah Mears alongside Stanley Cup champion Max Talbot, and we are privileged to be joined tonight by one of the Penguins' first-round draft picks in Bill Zonnon. He's been great, a 19-year-old, but wise beyond his years, and he's been also getting some wisdom and stories from our very own Max Talbot. We were talking about the draft. We're talking about draft stories, and something that players have to go through at every professional level when they're looking to get drafted is interviews, and a lot of these interviews, a lot of the time, as Bill was telling us, they're very mental questions. Do you make your bed? But Max was telling us he had a story. He was 15. Your dad was with you in the room.
Yep.
They ask you, do you have any questions? You say no, but he says yes. And what does he ask?
My dad said yes. I thought the interview was over. He's like, you forgot to ask a question, my son, right? So the guy's like, yeah, well, what question did we forget? And my dad's like, well, you know, what does he like the most about hockey? Which I thought it was a good question. And so, like, what do you like the most about hockey? And I'm about to answer, and my dad cut me off. He's like, obviously he's taking a shower with the boys after the game.
Oh, my.
And I'm like, oh, no. So my dad was trying
You make so much sense to me now.
Yeah.
Because of your dad.
Mr. Talbot, yeah. So I was like shocked, right? I'm like, come on, this interview went so well. I crushed it, and I wanted to go to Drummondville too. And I'm like, I left the room, and I was so pissed. I went crying in the car with my dad. I'm like, what? Like, it's my dream, right? I want to be drafted in the QMJHL, and you're kind of ruining my dream. So he thought it was funny. It was funny now looking back, but it was not. It didn't work out because they didn't draft me. It's like, this guy's dad is really weird. So. Yeah, don't do that for parents at home that are going to go through interviews. Don't ask that question.
You can learn a lot here on Unobstructed Views, including how to act in an interview. But Bill, clearly your interviews went much better than Max's did because you were drafted by the Pittsburgh Penguins. And tonight at PPG Paints Arena, they're celebrating something really special and instrumental in not just hockey, but across the country, but also across all of professional sports. It's Black Hockey History Month. We want to get more into that when we come back after this break and how that has helped you in your career.
On February 26th, join us to celebrate the 15th annual Penguins charity game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh and purchase one of our charity bags. With the purchase of a gold bag this year, you are guaranteed to receive an autographed Penguins 2025-26 third jersey by one of the following: Mario Lemieux, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, Erik Karlsson, Brian Rust, or Ricard Raquel. Plus, you'll receive this custom-framed 8x10 plaque honoring every 50-goal scorer in Pittsburgh Penguins history, celebrating one of the franchise's most elite achievements. Proceeds will benefit the Penguins Foundation and the Mario Lemieux Foundation. To see a complete list of the items available in each Penguins charity bag, log on to pittsburghpenguinsfoundation.org/charity game preview or scan the QR code on your screen. No one gets you ready for puck drop like Penguins Face Off Live. Pre-game insights, analysis, and a word straight from the coach. Penguins Face Off Live before every game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh. Presented by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Welcome back to Unobstructed Views. Black History Month celebrates and educates as we come together to honor the profound impact of Black individuals in hockey and beyond. These are the jerseys for Black Hockey History Night at PPG Paints Arena that the players came in wearing into PPG Paints. They've signed them as well, and they're going to auction them off. This is always a really cool night, and the Penguins do an amazing job with representation throughout the evening, but also an awesome job organization-wide. I've seen so much that this organization has done to celebrate and honor this month. Bill, for you, your parents are from West Africa. What was it like for you growing up to make sure that there is representation in hockey and to make sure that you can be somebody now who impacts that next generation?
Yeah, I think for me as a kid, it was huge. Just seeing those guys playing at the highest level and just being themselves and just having an impact on kids like me. And it's pretty crazy to think that, you know, now I can be one of those guys as well. So I take a lot of pride in that and just be myself, be a good role model for all those kids. And I know that a lot of them have been watching me and are watching me. So try to be a good person for them to follow.
You're so mature, man.
He is.
Like, I love, you know, you realize the importance you have for the youth. And, you know, we talked about, you know, and it's such a bad, we talked about Nylander a little bit off the air, you know, what he did last week as a Toronto Maple Leaf. And where, like, being in that position and you're 19 years old, come with responsibility of representing, you know, whether it's your country, your race, whether it's a team, it's a logo, it's a city. So good on you to know the responsibility that it comes with, and to be realize that you're a role model at your young age. It shows a lot of character. So good job on that.
We're proud to know that you could potentially be repping the black and gold with that type of attitude, and somebody that I know a lot of young fans of ours here in Pittsburgh will be looking up to you without a doubt. they're also looking up to the other guys in your draft class alongside you. And we are so anxious to hear your thoughts as well on a guy like Ben Kindle, who was drafted right there in the first round with you. You got to interact with him. We saw you guys in that video. But what has it been like to see him make it in the NHL this year? Not just make it, but kind of burst onto the scene and become important for this Pittsburgh Penguins team.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch. Obviously getting drafted, I've been watching a lot of the games, and it feels like every game he gets better and everything's on the ice. He makes something happen. So to be that young and to do all the stuff he's doing is incredible. And knowing him a little bit, I'm not really surprised. He's such a smart kid. He's such a mature kid that I knew that stuff like this would be possible with him. And no moment is too big for him, and I think that's pretty special.
Hey, Bill, I mean, I'm so impressed by you, talking to you, your maturity. I don't want to put pressure with this question. How do you see your development? I know as an ex-player, like, I would have goals, and I don't know if you want to open up on them and everything. How do you see your development in the next couple of years? Like, what's your path when you envision, you go to bed at night, you visualize yourself with the Penguins logo? Like, how do you see your next couple of years ahead of you? Like, your progression? Like, when do you want to be a Pittsburgh Penguin? That's my question, basically.
I want to be a Pittsburgh Penguin as fast as I can, and that's my goal. But obviously right now I'm focused on my team this year, and my goal is for it to be my last year of junior hockey this year. So make the jump to pro hockey next year. And one thing for sure is that I'll go to camp in September with the mentality that I want to play for the Penguins. And if that doesn't work out, well, then I'll go to Wilkes-Barre and work my ass off and make sure that I'm back in Pittsburgh as fast as I can.
Great vision. Last question for you, because the period is ending soon. I look back when I was 19 years old, there was not a lot of sports psychologists and everything. Like, is this something that you talk about, the mental game? Is this something that you work on and everything? Like, going in one challenge at a time? You look like a very mature kid. Well, the Penguins has another penalty. I don't think the Penguins had a power play tonight.
No, but the Senators have had 4 now. This will be their 4th. Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
need something.
Come on. But do you work with any type of sports psychologist at your age? Is this something you're open to? And how is this in your generation of younger hockey players?
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of work here and there, in the mental department. But it's something I'm open to. Obviously, everyone knows that, especially in sports, the mental aspect is so important, and it can give you an edge. So it's something I try to learn as much as I can. Meditation, relaxation, and just making sure I'm in a good mental state.
That is a soft penalty. I don't know if you saw what we saw. I don't like that penalty at all. I'm not a guy that will criticize the refs. I coach minor hockey, and they're always right. I agree, but come on, that was soft. Like, Lars Eller just...
Bill was just talking about meditation and finding a good space. Max, let's center it in here.
Come on.
Let's bring it back.
Yeah, I'm not zen right now. I want
He's
the Penguins.
Not zen.
I want the Penguins on a power play. And it depends. That's been one of their strengths this year. They're top 5 in special teams on both categories. So they've been killing well tonight. But at one point, Sheila has been super good tonight. Like
21 shots.
21 shots. Obviously, a lot of them come on the power play. But are you? Yeah. Are you a guy that kill penalty? I haven't checked that on you. Are you a guy that can play power play, PK?
Yeah, I do. I play both every night.
That's great, man. Perfect
He
player.
does it all.
Oh, yeah. Perfect player. Fellow French-Canadian.
A media dream.
Yeah.
He answers questions with a smile.
I love it.
So well spoken.
Yeah, no, I love, I can't wait to see you next year in a Penguins jersey, man. Like, don't put pressure on yourself. Have fun. It was great talking to you. Thanks for taking the time. You're a great inspiration. And for young guys that are watching us right now, I think you're a role model for a lot of young kids, and wishing you all the best, man. It was great talking to you today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Great talking to a legend. Thank you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the compliment. That was so nice.
No, he's talking about me, Anna. Come on. You're a legend, too. You're a broadcasting legend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Max.
Yeah.
You know who he's talking to. Thank you so much, Bill. It was a pleasure getting to meet you and know you. Best of luck to you. We can't wait to see you in Pittsburgh.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more unobstructed views as well. A lot more to come as the Penguins look to win 7 in a row.
Well, as the Penguins AHL affiliate, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins are second in the AHL standings right now. We're so excited to have Penguins 2022 first-round draft pick defenseman Owen Pickering joining us now. Of course, a big part of that success down in Wilkes-Barre. Pick's got to be fun to be a part of such a winning culture right now. Tell us about it.
Obviously, we've been winning games, and we have a great group. So when you kind of have those combined, it makes it fun to go to the rink every day.
It's been fun for Jay and I to keep up with you guys. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
I was just going to say, being in the minors and that experience, guys are getting called up or moved on to other places. How do the guys handle all that when they see a move made one way or another where it impacts the roster?
I think it's just a reality of kind of the spot we're in. Obviously, you like seeing guys have success, and we do. We have a really close group. So I feel like when guys kind of get called up or whatnot, it's more of like a collective happiness for guys. I mean, like when Brozer got called up for the first time, we were on the bus, and I mean, everybody was pumped for him. We were like chanting and whatnot. So it's pretty cool to kind of be going through that whole experience together and the whole kind of beginning your pro career and trying to break him for good, kind of all together.
Pick, I think I heard that you told Bros that he needed to call Kyle Dubas back right away, or he received a phone call and he was going to let it go for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing cards, and he had like a missed call from Spaz, and then Spaz had texted him, can you like call me back or something, and he showed it to me, and we were in a pretty heated junction of the card game, I guess, and he showed me, and he was had it typed out that he was like gonna call him back in 10 minutes or something. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like go call him right now. Like what are you doing? But I mean, the card games get pretty competitive, so can't blame him for that. But yeah, I did kind of just kind of told him like, hey, like I think this trumps anything that we're doing at this card table right now. So I mean, that's pretty cool to share that moment.
You know, when you're down there, Owen, and you have games, it's a lot of weekend league. It's a big weekend league, but you finding time to work on the skills that you need or that you identify as something you want to improve on? Are you finding enough time to do those kind of things that you need and be ready then for your weekend games?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's one thing the Penguins do really well, is kind of focusing on the development of everybody here. And they provide us with all the resources. So whether that's kind of development ice before or after practice, power skating coaches coming, skills coaches, there's always somebody here that's here for the sole purpose of helping us get better. We have the ice, and then the workouts are really good as well. I mean, we've played, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the most games in the league up to this point. Out of any team. So I think for us, it's been good. We've been getting our workouts in, and guys kind of have personalized plans as well. Whether you're getting your workouts in after a game on the road or at home, you just have to kind of pick your spots and understand that the goal is to win here, but the goal is also to continue to get better. And that's something that doesn't change no matter where you are.
What specific areas are you looking at for yourself, like that you really want to make, to help you make the next step? Which areas are you looking at in your game?
I think, I mean, from the time I got drafted, strength has always been the biggest thing that I want to be focused on.
Yep.
For me, it's kind of, I mean, I got drafted, I was 170 pounds, and uh, continually just growth in that area. And it's not about just kind of like packing on weight. It's more about being strong, and I feel like I've gotten better at that. But there's obviously next steps that I can get to where I feel like my game will kind of take off a little bit. So it's just about plugging away at that every day, and then there's obviously kind of the skill stuff and little intricacies in the game that they're good at kind of identifying, and I'm also a pretty good self-evaluator, so I understand kind of what my game is and what I need to do a lot of the time, so that helps for sure.
Good. Good.
Owen, for fans who are still kind of getting to know your background a little bit more, going back to when you were just 5'7", my height, when you entered major juniors at age 15, then you grow to 6'4" by the time you're drafted 3 years later. Can you take us through just kind of the challenges that rapid growth for you presented as you're trying to adjust and grow your game?
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously quite a few challenges, pretty unexpected. So for me, it was more about like kind of the injuries. I think was the biggest part, honestly. Like my back and my knees and whatnot were kind of we're pretty in one there for a little bit. But also just understand, like knowing where my feet were was a big thing. Just like understanding my body, and I mean, I have a really good trainer back home, Matt Asmussen. He helped me a ton with it. But kind of ever since then, it's just been strength, strength, strength. So there were some challenges for sure, but I honestly feel like I became a better skater when I grew. So that was nice. And I mean, once I got used to it, it was obviously positive.
Jay, Owen was telling me
Yeah.
about doing olive oil shots. Have you ever heard of that? And are you still doing that pick for the
No.
strength?
No, I'm not. No.
I remember
I,
Owen.
I,
I
I,
was
did, I did, I did, but I don't. I'm not doing that anymore.
You know, Owen, I was building off what Haley had asked you, and when you look at your size and how it changed, and even with what you're doing now as far as your workouts, I'm sure the one thing, yeah, you want to put on the pounds, and you mentioned you want strength, like, but it's also keeping up your hands and your legs, and the quickness that's probably one part that's the bigger you get, you want to make sure you keep that same speed or quickness, and I'm sure you're well aware of that, and spend probably even more time with that part of it as you're getting bigger, stronger. It's a key to make sure you stay as fast as you always are.
For sure. I that's definitely something where it's not just about like packing on as many pounds as you can. Um,
Yep.
it's more like I mean, I was picked where I was picked for a reason, and um, I've kind of had success for a reason as well. So I don't want to just completely change that by packing on a ton of pounds for no reason, and then I don't have the same kind of skating that I do, or the same um,
Yeah.
escapability that I do, for example, and then the same sort of skill that I can play with by just because I felt like packing on 15 extra pounds. I do need to get stronger, and I'm working on that, but it's a consistent build over time. It's not just let's pack on a bunch of pounds, because then I feel like I'll be chasing in other areas.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, that's well said. Well, Pick, you and I were talking about how you and some of your buddies, your teammates, are going to do a fun little vacation for the All-Star break. But last year at this time, coming up for the All-Star break, you actually got to go play in that All-Star game in Palm Desert, California. Just what do you remember about that? And what are some tips that you can maybe give Tristan Brose and Sergei Murashov as they go to represent you guys this year?
Yeah, it was awesome to see those guys get that nod. I mean, Rockford, I feel like they're maybe a little jealous I got to go to Palm Springs last year. Um, but yeah, I mean, really, like there's no advice for it. I mean, it's a skills comp and a 3-on-3 tournament, but I mean, really, it's just fun. Like you go there and you get your flowers, and you get to meet some guys from around the league, and I mean, I got to play some golf last year. I don't think they're going to get to play any golf in Rockford, but maybe they can go to a simulator or something. And yeah, just kind of enjoy the time. And it's a good reset as well because, I mean, the All-Star game's the All-Star game, but we have a really good team and we want to do some damage. I feel like last year we saw a pretty bad taste in our mouths, but um, with a year under our belts and a little more experience, and we have a good supporting cast as well. We want to do some damage. So as much as it's All-Star game and All-Star break, it's a reset for a push for kind of what we want to do.
You know, and I'll go back to the hockey part of it too. And when you look at being in Wilkes-Barre and the system that you run mirrors the Penguin system. If you went back and over time, there were some farm teams that were split, like owned by two different franchises were part of it, and they fed players to that. And it was hard to pick which system were you going to use. For you guys, it's such a bonus that what you're working on down there as far as your game is concerned and the team game, when you come up to Pittsburgh, you're hopefully mirroring and kind of trying to accomplish the same thing as you're doing down in Wilkes.
For sure. I think that, like I said earlier, I mean, the Penguins do a lot of things really, really well. It's an unbelievable organization, but that's one thing that makes it super easy. I know, like when I got called up earlier in the year, and even when I came up last year for that large chunk of time, where it's like, you just know, like the PK, for example, or like little system stuff in the game where you're not kind of going in like, I mean, I got called up this year the day before the Philly game, and you get in and you have nerves, obviously, and because you're playing in the NHL again and whatever, but you don't have any nerves about the system. You know, I'm not sitting here wondering, like if a puck's rimmed around, am I slamming or am I not slamming? You know, like kind of little stuff like that in the game. That part, because it's just kind of what you do. Like they go over the systems first few days in training camp, and that's the same. It's the whole organization systems. It's not just Pittsburgh systems. You're not getting a Wilkes on new systems. Kirk is really, really good at that. Kind of mirroring that and helping us. Like, I never, even last year when I got called up playing my first NHL game, there was nothing where I was like, oh, like what do I do in this situation? It was more just, oh, I'm playing in the NHL. It wasn't like, oh, this is a joke, but you're not nervous about it.
Reacting, right?
Yeah, it gets reactive and it's just kind of instinct because I think I've played 75 games in the AHL or something like that. And those games, you're still playing the same system as when you go up. So you're just ready to you're doing the same thing.
That's perfect. It's good.
That's huge, and that's what you want. You want that reactiveness, not thinking too much when you're out there. But you mentioned your NHL debut. I remember that pick. I got to talk to your parents that night, and not everybody can say that they picked up their first NHL point in their debut. I know after your first NHL goal in the intermission interview, you told me you blacked out. That's one of the best things I've ever heard after a first NHL goal. Very funny, but when you got that first NHL point, just take us back through that whole debut and how special it was to get on the score sheet right away in your first NHL game.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a really cool day in general. My buddy, I grew up with, he was actually in Arizona visiting one of our friends who plays at ASU, and I called him. I was like, "Hey, like I'm playing in the NHL tomorrow," and he was like, "No way, like I'm coming." He hopped on like a red eye, like the worst flight ever from like San Fran to get to Pitt, and then he didn't want to wake me up because I was obviously struggling to sleep a little bit, and he didn't want to wake me up, but he knew like what hotel room I was. So he sat outside the door and fell asleep outside the door because he didn't want to wake me up. So when I opened the door to like go to the rink in the morning, he was like slumped on the door. It's just like a funny start to the day. And then my family makes it in, which is super special. I mean, just tell him I texted the group chat like with my family. I said, like, I think I just said I'm playing in the NHL tomorrow. And I mean, that was pretty cool. Like it's a pretty cool thing. And something that nobody can ever take from you. So my family made it down, and then did warm-ups without a helmet on, which was awesome. Best feeling ever. And then didn't like fall or do anything crazy in warm-up. I was feeling it pretty good. And then, I mean, you just like, I mean, I was quite nervous before my first shift. Just kind of sitting on the bench, like, yeah, like I just want to get out there. You know, I couldn't really nap during the day. I was like pretty jittery. Walking in with Shazo, I was like telling him like, hey, like I'm shaking, dude. Like this isn't good. Like I got to calm down a bit here. But same thing, like you get in there and like I've done that routine before. Like it's the same routine of like, okay, our meetings at this time, we're doing this. And like it's the NHL, you're going to be nervous. But I just wanted to get my first shift out of the way. And then I had a pretty good first.
Welcome back to Unobstructed Views. Senators and the Pens. The Pens have not had many chances so far, Max, and they've been struggling, have had to kill off some power plays and are working on killing off a fourth here this night, too. 3?
No, it's
Fourth?
a fourth one.
Fourth one, right?
Yeah.
Fourth? Can you count still?
Yeah, you know your stuff. I mean, they've killed well, but I'd like to see them on a power play at one point, too.
Yeah.
You know, so the Senators have been kind of playing better right now. And, you know, it always shows in penalties. It's not just the ref when you look at a game. It's also, you know, you got to go get the puck. You got to be on the puck if you want to get penalties called against you. But I didn't like the last call, obviously. But I never criticize the referees. They're always right. But yeah, the Penguins, I think it's going to be a big part of the game, too. You got to be able to win that battle. And if they get on the power play, I'm sure they'll make it count.
Have you been impressed at all, though, with what you've seen from the Pittsburgh Penguins, considering, you know, the first part of the year there was a dip, at least when we were talking the last time that we've seen you?
Well, last time they played the Ottawa Senators, it was their 7th loss in a row, and they ended up losing 10 in a row in December. You know, they had some points in overtimes here and there, but they lost 10 in a row. So for the Penguins to be back, I think they had points in 17 out of their last 19 games. So obviously it's a huge turnaround. I love the trade, the goalie trade. I think that was huge for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we'll talk more about it during the period also. But the Penguins are, you know, I was at a practice this morning. You could feel the vibe in the room. You could feel, you know, we've been talking about Dan Mears, that the coaching changed since the beginning of the year. And it's definitely showing that the Penguins are a different team, a confident team. Everybody has fun playing together. You see Sid, you know, that the team is playing on depth too right now. You know, it's not just Sid producing points. It's the whole up and down the lineup. Guys like Manta that they want to get this year. Everybody's playing well. The goalies are. She loved tonight. Like, yes, there was a lot of maybe A1 scoring chance missed by the Ottawa Senators.
But big saves by him as well.
Huge saves, you know, and that's what. When you have two healthy goalies that are fighting and there's no number one goalies, and they're the same thing in Montreal also, because I covered the Montreal Canadiens back home, and there's a battle of goaltenders, it's healthy in a way where you get the net, you want to be as good as you can. And Sheilov, since the beginning of the year, has been having a good season. I think it was a good signing by the Penguins. And now you have a battle where Skinner's in the net, he's doing well, and now Sheilov gets on tonight. And without him tonight, the Penguins, it could be 3-4-1. So he's doing his job. And Kindle, I love watching Kindle play. You know, he's an explosive player, 18 years old player. We have Bill Zonnon talking about him, about, you know, how smart of a hockey player he is. And it's not a small feat being 18 years old and be able to have your place in the NHL. You know, you'll see a lot of roller coaster throughout the year, but this kid, I feel like throughout the season, yes, he had a scoring drought a little while ago. I think it was like 19 games with a goal or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was on the scoring sheet, you know, the last couple games. So it's fun to be able to have this type of season and be in the contention and having the probability to see Sidney Crosby in playoffs again this year, you know. So it's super positive for the Pittsburgh Penguins. It makes it easier for a GM too to be able, okay, the team is playing well. Easier, but at the same time it creates another problem. What is he going to do at the trading deadline? You know, at the start of the year, I think he had a plan, but because of how well the Penguins are playing, what is the plan right now? You know, will you give your leaders an opportunity to chase another Stanley Cup and have a playoff run?
Well, and speaking of trades in general. You were talking about the goaltending situation, and it seems as though when you were over at Morning Skate, all positive things to say about Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
Great. It seems like a great guy, great energy. Obviously plays really well between the pipes, as Sheila has tonight as well. But what were your thoughts on that trade? Because we have not seen you since Tristan Jarry is no longer a goaltender in Pittsburgh, and Sam Poulin a part of that trade as well. You were very close with him, a young prospect for the Pens.
Yeah, well, Brett Kulak also that got into Pittsburgh, that's playing very well. So I thought for me, when I read the trade, I'm like, this is not a rebuild. You know, this was not the start of a rebuild. It was a hockey trade. It was trading two goalies with Skinner that had trouble maybe playing with the pressure of trying to win every time, but at the same time, he brought them to 2 Stanley Cup finals. So you have a very good goalie with playoff experience. And you look at the guy's vibe, and I had a chance to talk with the captain of the Penguins today, and he's like, he's a Pittsburgh guy. You know,
you love to hear that.
He fits in the culture. He's got the weird mustache and everything, but I feel like this is who he is. And he's an authentic guy, a good teammate. It was not easy for Tristan Jarry in Pittsburgh. You know, you got to follow up, you know, Marc-Andre Fleury and Matt Murray, that both Stanley Cup champions. So you get the net. Yes, he was into an all-star game. He's a good goaltender, but I think a change sometimes is very good. We made a change in the coaching department this summer, which was very good, very productive, very good for the team, for the vibe. Not saying that Mike Sullivan was not a good coach, but I think it was what the Penguins needed, and that goalie change was one of the better moves of Kyle Dubas this season. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do again. But Skinner and Sheila has been they've been very good in that for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
100%. And Tristan Jarry was playing really well this season as well. So I think you also trade him at a time where he's at a premium too, so you're getting the best bang for your buck, because the last thing you want is for him to hit a downward slope here in Pittsburgh, and then you have all that negative energy back, and sometimes it's just right place, right time, and I think they were able to trade him at a premium and get a goalie like Stu, who fresh start here in Pittsburgh, seems to be fitting in really well. But something else we haven't really mentioned this game, but it's been a big topic of conversation this week, is Chris Letang out possibly for weeks. What has that done? How have you been watching the defensive pairs tonight without him in the mix? Have you been impressed? Do you want more? What type of impact does that have on a team? Mind you, I know that something that could be good for him and the Penguins is that the Olympic break will be coming up, so he might not miss as much of the NHL season for the Penguins. Kind of happen at a good time if it's going to happen.
Of course, you know, you mentioned it. You know your hockey, Anna, because it is.
Thanks, Max.
Yeah.
All those hours of prep, you know.
Oh, for sure, but
all the time spent with you.
Oh yeah, I'm teaching you every night, you know, and you learn so fast. But it is a good fortune in some way. You never want to see older guy, a leader of your team, getting hurt. You know, as a guy that can eat minutes, if I can say, you know, that can be on the ice and reliable. Leader, obviously, of your team, but the timing is right. You know, you can't forget that there's the Olympic break this year, and yes, he's out 4 weeks, but out of the 4 weeks, there's 3 weeks that they're going to be in breaks. So it's good, and also that it is an injury it's a broken foot that I read correctly. Well, that's not something that you can do a lot of rehab for. So he'll be able to go. I don't know where he's going, but hopefully get some sun, you know, relax, take care of his foot. And these seasons are demanding, you know, especially, you know, when you think about an Olympic season, is that, yes, you have 3 weeks off in the middle of the season, but that means that your games are close tight and you have a lot of action, you know, rapidly in a season. So for an older player to be hurt and that he can go and relax and take care of his foot, it's good. And you get him ready for playoff, and he's going to be back. He's a competitor. He wants to win. He's an important part of this team. But at the same time, it gives opportunities for other players. And that's always, you know, when you look at a team that has depth like the depth like the Pittsburgh Penguins this year, it shows. And we got Caleb Jones that is coming also, that is coming back. He was injured after maybe 10 games this season, so I saw him skate this morning, so maybe he'll get back in the lineup, and maybe he would have not get back in the lineup is Chris Letang didn't get injured. So there's always, you have to, I'm always the glass half full type of guy, you know. So
have to be.
It's good for other players to have this chance when a guys fall down like that, and you know, you pray for guys to come back healthy from the Olympics for the guys that are taking part of the competition, and that the younger guys will go and rejuvenate and get some rest and sun. And it's fun for the players too. These breaks are fun because it gets you work so hard for that, then you have a break and you come back healthy. And some teams that have a lot of players going to the Olympics might get disadvantaged because there's the traveling, there's the schedule. And I was talking to Sidney Crosby this morning, and they were leaving next week, and it's going to happen fast. They're going to like Italy, and it's going to be an intense competition. So for teams that have a lot of players like the Tampa Bay Lightning, Colorado Avalanche, well, it might play into the end of the season for them. Yeah.
It's interesting because when we talk about the Olympic break this year, we're also talking in baseball, as I'm going to have to transition to that in the next couple of weeks, but we're talking about the World Baseball Classic and how that's going to affect players at spring training, what team dynamic could look like, what ramp up for pitchers could be like. It's going to be interesting to get to witness that side of things. So how different can that be, or how impactful can that be for a team sort of like Ottawa or like the Penguins, who have been finding their momentum at this point in the season, and then it's going to come to a stop?
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough, and that's when I think leadership and experience comes into hand. Sidney Crosby has been an Olympian, a gold medalist twice in his career, or maybe 3 times. I will have to check. I'm sorry, but he's been there and he knows how to manage this too. And sometimes it gives gas to these guys. It gives you come back as a winner, and it gives you extra motivation. And you look at a guy. Again, I will go to Montreal Canadiens. Nick Suzuki last year, he didn't make the Four Nations Cup. And that gave him, okay, well, I got to play better. But it gave him motivation, and through his season, you guys like Cole Caulfield, Lane Hudson, Robertson in Dallas that didn't get chosen to represent Team USA. Robertson in Dallas, he's the best American point getter this year. But he's not in Team USA because Bill Guerin didn't pick him. He wants to build a team, and it's not necessarily the best players that you pick in that team. It's the best composition of player within their role and their responsibilities. So for these players, do you take it as motivation, or you kind of be like, oh, I should have been there, and you pout like a baby? So it will be interesting to see how this season will come about and how these guys will perform after that. And you come back from the Olympics, and then you got a trading deadline too. So you have to see which team, and you look at
that's
the
a lot
East.
Of mental stability you have to have through that time, because for a guy, let's imagine you're not on a team and you're sitting out, and then all of a sudden trade deadline, and you're one of the guys who you feel like is on that waiver. And you might be in a different team, you might be in a different circumstance. The mental game that is going to be happening in the next couple months for these guys. Yeah,
you forget about that sometimes, because we look at the athletes perform on the ice, and sometimes as a fan or now as a broadcaster, you look at them and you can imagine them as a robot, right? You're an athlete, he's a player, that's what he does, he should perform every day. But a lot of guys, they have families, so the trading deadline is very a stressful time of year for them, because especially in the East this year, it's wide open. You look between the last place and the playoff, there's maybe 10 points separating, and yes, it's going to be tough. Oh my God, breakaway, 2-0. What? Oh, come on, like 2-0. Like this is bad. Sheila did everything he could.
Great save at first. But...
Yeah, and the Senators, they've been the best team for the last 7 minutes. Also, you start the third period, and it's a bad change there. Take the penalty or stay on the ice. But this is tough. Bad turnover at the blue line, and I talked to my 10 years old hockey team, and both lines are so important. And when you look at the ice, you look at the blue line on both sides, right? I always say, on your side of the zone, the puck needs to get out of the blue line. It's not time to be fancy and make a move. And same thing when you get to the offensive blue line, the puck got to get in. It's not time to make a move, because a turnover like this will cost you so much, because the other team, if you cut the play, they're full steam ahead of, and it's so dangerous to make a turnover at the blue line.
2 costly turnovers by the Penguins tonight.
Yeah.
Both result in goals. We saw that one by Gino early in the game as well that gave the Senators their first goal. But Max, on the flip side of that, how often do you preach to those young guys as well on the offensive side to follow the puck? Because that is what happens when you do.
Yeah, oh, for sure. It's a 2-0, and you know you have to drive the net there because obviously you got to chase the rebound and you got to stop at the net. And this is a skill that we teach the young guys also. You know, follow the puck, follow the net, and stop at the net. And Stützle, he's one of the best players in the league to do this, and he's a very skilled guy, so he's not going to miss that one.
Well, we had talked a little bit ago about the Winter Olympics, and coming up next here inside of PPG Paints Arena, you're going to hear the guys who are going to be honored from both teams that are going to be heading to the Olympics for the Olympic send-off live. Erik Karlsson, obviously, Team Sweden. Sidney Crosby, Team Canada. Shelovs, Team Latvia. Ricard Raquel, Team Sweden. We're obviously here on Unobstructed Views, wishing them the best of luck representing their respective countries. And now for the ceremony here in PPG.
The Penguins charity game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh is returning for the 15th straight season. On Thursday, February 26th, tune in to purchase this year's retro-inspired Platinum Charity Duffel Bag. Each Platinum Charity Bag features a limited edition autographed Marc-Andre Fleury 2009 Stanley Cup Final Penguins jersey, an 8x10 autographed photo of the Big Three presented in a custom frame made from player-used sticks, a Mario Lemieux autographed Penguins helmet, and a Chris Letang autographed 2025-26 Penguins third jersey. All that plus many more great pieces of Penguins memorabilia honoring the legendary players, management,
Best of
and
luck
moments
to those
in
guys
Pittsburgh.
getting to represent their respective countries. Max, I'm curious, in your playing career, were you ever close to being able to go to the Olympics?
Yeah, I almost made the team in 2010 in Vancouver. No, that's not true. That's not true. I was not good enough. My wife went to the Olympics, so that's one thing. So we have one family member, figure skating. She was there in 2010, so that was great for her. But I actually was very close. In 2018, the games were in Pyeongchang, and I was playing in Russia, but the NHL players were not allowed to go. It was political context. There was money involved with the NHL also. So there was no Olympics in 2018 for the NHL guys. And also in Beijing in 2022, because of COVID, the NHL players didn't compete. But in 2018, I was playing in Russia. And I was actually in August, which you start the season. The games are in February. I was a Team Canada captain of that team because I played in Russia and I was supposed to make the team, and then I got hurt my first practice. I got hurt, so I didn't compete at that tournament to try to make my place. And throughout the year, we didn't perform enough, and I was playing, and I got hurt again, and I ended up being a 13th forward. So I got cut from the team. I didn't make it. I was on a hold in case someone got hurt, and Team Canada got a bronze medal during those games. So it is probably, like I said, I'm a very positive guy, but it is probably the thing I regret the most in my career, not to be able to go to the game. I was good enough, but I didn't perform enough that season. Maybe the stress of exactly knowing it was the Olympic season. So very disappointing, and it is what it is. You look back at your career like, oh, I could have been there, but not good enough. You know, yeah. I'm not gonna cry today on Unobstructed Views, but I'm very disappointed because it is such a privilege, and it is something that the NHL players, not just the fans, enjoy, but to be able to represent your country. I did it at the World Juniors and wearing the. Oh, here we go! Ah, the boy Malkin on his knees. I don't know who scored that, but that was a nice Novak. Put the puck on net, right? So that's a huge goal, huge. And this is the character of the Pittsburgh Penguins this year. Mm-hmm. And Novak scored this goal, probably put the puck on net, like I mentioned. And it's something that, you see, it's not a pretty goal. It's just a shot on net, and you got to drive it there. Good job. Two guys at the net. Gino's there also.
Get some traffic in front.
Exactly. That was a save from Hallmark. Exactly. So this is, sometimes I use this to, when you have such good teams, confidence team right now, that like the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I remember the years, 2009, 2010, 2008, when you have these teams that you have a synergy between you guys, you just know that you have the skill and the power to come back in games. It is such a special power, right? You're not playing your best games. You haven't got one power play tonight. Maybe you don't have your legs, whatever. Ottawa's a good team also. They have your numbers because they've been beating you the last 7 games you played against them. Allmark never lost against the Penguins, but there's a belief in the locker room. There's a belief from the coaching staff, from the players, that you can always come back in games like this. So this is the flow of the Pittsburgh Penguins right now. They're feeling it, and it's they're never going to stop working. And this is fun for the fans. This is fun for the players, for the city. So it's fun for us watching a game, right? Because they give you a show every night.
And it's been 2 points for Chinakhov tonight as well. And what's interesting about these young Russian players on the Penguins, and seeing Evgeny Malkin right there in front of the net and causing traffic, knowing he had a bad turnover earlier in the game, he's been someone they've called a father to them on this team. And I'm interested, you've played with him, you know his character and what he's like. Does it surprise you at all to see the stories that have come out about him? And Michelle Crecchiolo, the writer for the Pens, has wrote a great article about this, just about how he's taken them under his wing, he's taken them to dinner, he's been there for them. I mean, does that surprise you at all? Not at all. I mean, Gino had the chance to have this from Sergei Gonchar, and Sergei Gonchar, Gino was super lucky to have Sergei Gonchar as a mentor for him. We lived at his house, just like Sidney Crosby and Mario Lemieux. And this is so important in a culture, because when you receive it, when you get it, you want to give it back, right? So we learned from Gonchar that was the perfect Russian, if I can say, super sophisticated, into watch, into wine, into nutrition. Very, very intelligent guy that's still in the league, that helped the Penguins to develop themselves. So Gino had this. Oh, here we go. We got a power play. That's what we were asking for. A goal, a power play, turn these tides here.
Yeah. So more of the mentorship from the Evgeny Malkin coming back, like Nick Cousin. You can't do that. You can't do that. You're gonna make your team lose. You're gonna sit in the box and feel shame.
When we come back, the Pens on a power play. Very fired up. Gino Machino, too.
The Penguins charity game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh is returning for the 15th straight season. On Thursday, February 26th, tune in to purchase this year's retro-inspired Platinum Charity Duffel Bag. Each Platinum Charity Bag features a limited edition autographed Marc-Andre Fleury 2009 Stanley Cup Final Penguins jersey, an 8x10 autographed photo of the Big Three presented in a custom frame made from player-used sticks, a Mario Lemieux autographed Penguins helmet, and a Chris Letang autographed 2025-26 Penguins third jersey. All that plus many more great pieces of Penguins memorabilia honoring the legendary players, management, and moments in Pittsburgh Penguins history. Proceeds will benefit the Penguins Foundation and the Mario Lemieux Foundation. To see a complete list of the items available in each Penguins charity bag, log on to pittsburghpenguinsfoundation.org/charity game preview or scan the QR code on your screen.
Here, we don't just watch the Penguins. We live every tipped puck.
Unbelievable.
Every battle.
Give me more of this.
Every new prospect.
This is a glimpse of the future.
Everything you love about the Pens, we do too.
I'm down here between the benches.
You know what that means, Pens fans?
Cheers to that.
We manifested it. Stream the Penguins all season long on SNP 360.
Penguins, and it seems like the momentum is going to shift. We got a goal from Novak, ties up the game, and now we've got a power play that you've been wishing for finally.
Yeah, well, we were talking about the whole night, right?
Yeah.
We need to get gritty to get a penalty call. And Nick Cousin is the perfect guy also to give you a power play, because he's gritty, he's indisciplined a little bit. So the Penguins have been feeling it on the power play recently. We mentioned it earlier. Their power play has been doing very well, and I saw them practice the power play this morning. They're moving the puck, they're dangerous, and I feel like it is structured, but it is also a lot of creativity is involved in their power play, which is the perfect balance for me for a power play. Ooh, why is there a face-off there? There's a high stick. Okay, thank you. Thank you. We have Fred in our ear that is telling us what is going on, so this is great. And if I may, I'd like to do a little shout out here. We have some fans at the game right now, and they send me a post on my social media that they're actually at PPG watching the game, but they're actually listening to us in their here. They're listening to Unobstructed Views. So thank you very much, Kimberly.
Hello.
Hi to you guys. Big fan of the Penguins. Always a season ticket holder for a long time. So we really they want to listen to what we have to say, right? They have all the content from great guests that we had tonight, Bill Zonnon, the prospect Pittsburgh. So they're learning about their team while they're watching the game at PPG. It's a perfect balance.
That is so cool. Thank you so much. That makes us feel super honored as well. Really cool that you want to hear what we have to say. I don't know if you know this, Max, but growing up, a lot of the times when we would watch the Penguin game, my dad would always have a radio set up beside us so that when the goals happened, we would turn up Mike Lang to hear his calls. To get to hear the call, we'd get so excited as kids. So kind of a full circle moment to now be sitting in a chair and have someone listening what we have to say.
That's true.
During a game.
Wow.
Kind of crazy. Even though Mike Lang, not even close to
No.
comparing anything we're doing here to the greatest who's ever called a game. But pretty cool to know that people are tuning into our show and having fun. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Oh, for sure.
Bring the Pens some luck in there in PPG. Yell loud for us.
Oh, let's go. Let's go, Penguins. This is a big moment in the game. There's 8 minutes left. And Carlson's been dangerous. Ooh. You got to get in front of that here, Manta. Big body, it was just by the side. And that's something we teach the young guys. There's a big difference. Why do we ask players to be in front of the net? It's actually not to tip the puck. Yes, sometimes it will happen. But you have to get your big body right in front, and it's for the goalie not to see that shot. And you see, it's not much. He's just by the side. And sometimes there's the net front, like he was there, and there's also flash screens that you can do while skating just across the vision. It's 1 second flash screen where the goalie will have to lose the vision of the puck, and that's when a lot of goals will happen. But it is a skill, and Matas definitely has the body to do that. Nice try. Nice
you
try.
want to, as our producer Derek just said, obstruct his view. You don't want to unobstruct it.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
This is good. This is very good. We have such a good team here on Unobstructed Views, and it's not just us, right? So we want to thank everybody giving us all the info in our ears. What a great team we have
Everyone
here.
behind the scenes, Cliff making sure we can hear everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And Lough in the audio. Shout out to you. It's been so fun as well, getting to watch the Pittsburgh Penguins, this new identity, this fun team this season. Max, I know we haven't got to have you much on here. We've missed you, but it's been a fun season of Unobstructed Views. A lot of different guests popping in. Rob King filling in last week. And this will be my last time hosting this season. You're going to miss me. I might be making an appearance on the next show. We'll see.
Yeah.
Be in spring training, turning the tides to warmer temperatures and baseball.
Already baseball, huh?
Already baseball. I
It's
know.
crazy.
We had Pirates Fest 2 weekends ago now, and it always snows every year on Pirates Fest. Every time for the last 3 years, it has snowed. We got
Really?
hit with that big snowstorm. Yeah.
You like baseball or hockey better, Anna?
So my favorite sport to watch in person is, like when we talk about professional sports, is hockey. I love an NHL game. I love the arena. I think it feels small. It feels loud. You feel really connected to the game, and it's so fast-paced. I also grew up playing soccer, so I think just the way hockey moved, I could relate to that movement a lot and just in following it. And then, of course, growing up and just watching the success the Pens had, I think that was just the sport that I gravitated toward a lot. But I love baseball, and it was the last sport I ever thought I would cover. I never thought I'd end up in baseball, and I've grown to love the pace of the game and just the type of broadcast you can have, and it's long. It's a great season, but you can tell so many stories, and it feels like a family. You spend a ton of time with people and get to know everybody, and it's been a really cool sport to get to learn more about and just to watch how guys go about a day-to-day when it's 160 games, Max. Because I'm sure you already had a tedious schedule when it was just 80-some games. But, I mean, 160, it's different every single day. Not just a practice, it's a game every day.
You know what? Ooh. Is that a goal? What happened there? So we know there's a penalty. Could it be a penalty shot? I don't know. And if the puck went in the net, that's definitely a goal. So I think they'll go to replay for that. I don't know what the call is going to be, but it's definitely Claude Giroux, one of the best PK guy I played with when I was in Philly, and we beat the Penguins in the first round in 2011 when I did my trader move. Yeah, I love playing with Claude Giroux, and he's a great leader. So we'll see if that puck went in the net. As we saw Pittsburgh Penguin coach Mike Yeo.
On the play, number 65 has a 2-minute penalty for tripping.
Will they verify the puck?
Tripping, and then.
Because that's a goal.
But
Oh, we'll know right after.
No, did the goal move first before it got a chance there? We'll know more when we come back on Unobstructed Views. Stay tuned.
The Penguins charity game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh is returning for the 15th straight season. On Thursday, February 26th, tune in to purchase this legendary retro-inspired Penguins charity canvas duffel bag, which draws inspiration from the bold new 2025-26 third jersey. The Penguins gold is reminiscent of Mario Lemieux and the Penguins of the 1980s. The Penguins word mark is displayed on the carrying strap, and the zipper pulls are color coordinated by bag level. 3 bag tiers will be available once again, featuring various items honoring iconic players, management, and moments in Pittsburgh Penguins history. Proceeds help the missions of both the Penguins Foundation and Mario Lemieux Foundation. To see a complete list of the items available in each Penguins charity bag, log on to pittsburghpenguinsfoundation.org/charity game preview or scan the QR code on our screen.
The road to puck drop begins on Penguins Tonight. A first look at the latest game news, stories from around the league, and so much more. Penguins Tonight, 1 hour before every game on Sportsnet Pittsburgh. Presented by Morgan & Morgan.
Welcome back to Unobstructed Views. Right before the break, we see Karlsson is going to be in the box. Gosh, Max, you were talking just scary. This can be so dangerous. This is why the net moves as you were talking. We were debating as well on, is it a goal, is it not? Confirmed not a goal. You surprised?
I am surprised because, you know, there's, and I'm not 100% sure on that, but if you would say that the post doesn't move and the puck still gets in the net, to me, that's a goal. That should be a goal. It clearly beats the goalie. The puck, yes, hits him before it gets in the net, but that's totally legal. So let's say that the post doesn't move, it's still a good goal. So to me, it would if I were the ref, I'd call it a goal. But if the Penguins are not getting called a goal against there, they're pretty lucky, and it's good for them.
Yeah, that's a good break. Maybe too, as you can see, that upper angle was really nice, but he's moving into Shilov's at that point too. So would his glove have landed on it had he have not gone in? Maybe they looked from all of those angles. But man, nasty hit. Hope he's okay. Shilov's also took a nasty hit to the head there a little bit too.
Yeah, because if there's a goal there, because they're going to make the call right there.
Mm-hmm.
The puck completely crosses the goal line on the play, therefore we have a good goal.
Yeah.
Wow, so they did call it a goal.
They did call it a goal.
We were pretty certain going into break it wasn't going to be, but.
Now next move is Dan Hughes could actually call goalie interference. If he would think that, you know, the player kind of went into him, but he got pushed into him by Karlsson. So that's when you're like, I don't think so. Look at Shilov. He's like, so maybe they're going to try to, you know, call goalie interference there, but then you take the chance to have a penalty on that. So that's what Nick Bonino is trying to talk about with the video coach, and that's when you have to have a good team, right? There's 2 video guys in the locker room there that are watching every angle, and they're going to make the decision. It's a big decision because if they don't call it goalie interference, well, you're going to start with a PK. So yeah, it's a big moment. We'll see Alfredsson behind the bench, and we mentioned Mike Yeo also. That was a Stanley Cup winner in Penguins here in Pittsburgh here, so he needs to make a decision. And I wouldn't call that take the chance to call goalie interference on that. So I think that's the right decision. Oh yeah, they're calling it.
Pittsburgh is challenging to play for goaltender interference.
I know my stuff, right? I know.
It's like you've played before.
That's a risky call because he got, the ref called a penalty on Carlson. So obviously there's an action that gets Giroux to be in that position. So it's not him that decides to hit the goalie. So they call the penalty already. He falls down. So to me, it's not goalie interference. But it is such a gray zone in that regard. Like the refs, they already looked at it, to see if the puck crossed the line, which they called a goal. He had a penalty in his arm. So to me, this goal won't be reversed, and the Penguins will be killing another penalty with 5 minutes to play.
And you've been pretty confident about that the whole time, even through the break. You're saying, I don't know how they don't call this a goal when he's going.
That's why I'm here, Anna.
I know.
Thank
goodness. Thank goodness we have your wisdom.
Yeah.
Tough, though, for the Pens.
After reviewing the play, the action of 65 puts the Ottawa player into the goaltender. Therefore, there's no goaltender interference. We have a goal.
Still got 5 minutes left.
Yep.
But momentum has not really been on the Pens side so far this evening. Maybe a little bit more this period than prior.
Yeah.
But this one, like a goal like that, Max, like what do you do? 5 minutes left in the third, a goal like that, it's tough.
Yeah, but we just
one up.
mentioned it with the second goal of the Penguins right after the second goal of Ottawa, is that this team has fight in them, and this is like a challenge. We haven't seen, tonight Malkin's been playing very well, but we haven't seen Sidney Crosby so much, and that's the right time to do it. You want your leaders on the ice, and Colby Armstrong was telling Sid tonight, this morning, to shoot the puck, put the puck on net a little bit more. So we'll see if that.
Colby with the wisdom.
Oh yeah, good wisdom. I mean, he had good wisdom.
Hey Sid, how about you shoot the puck?
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, that was good, and that's the fun thing about being ex-teammate and friends. And yes, we're on the media side, but we're still ex-teammates and friends. So when we have something to say like that, it's just a little advice, sometimes a little seed in your head. They're like, okay, yeah, maybe you haven't shoot the puck enough.
The one that used to drive me nuts, my dad used to always say was, hey, team with the most points at the end wins,
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
simple game. I'd be like, okay, Dad, thank you.
No,
Thank you for that wisdom.
My dad was always talking about the 3 Ps. It's pass, position, and in French, it's patin, means skating, and that was his big, like, les 3 P, the 3 Ps, I'm like, yeah, that, okay.
Got it, okay.
I got to skate, I got to pass, I got to be in the right position. But sometimes it's just a simpler thing like that you, like I mentioned, you put a seed in your head, and it goes, playing hockey, you have to be in the flow, and it's such a mental game, that's what I love the most about Bill Zonnon that we talked during the second period. Young guy with swag, and that's not easy to have at that age, right? So swagger, you need to be confident, not cocky, just confident, and you believe in yourself. And sometimes when you're looking for your confidence, what is confidence? I always say confidence comes from preparation. That's the first thing, So you got to prepare, and you got to, repeat and do the same action over again, and you got to do it enough that you feel like in practice that when you feel that a game will happen, you'll be able to be in that position and have success. So habits, but after that, it's moments like that. It's a team feeling, right? It's a team vibe, and the Penguins have been proving, as much as during December when they had that 10-game losing streak, they got, they were winning games with like a couple minutes to play, and the other teams would score 3 goals at the end of the game. So they were unconfident. They were losing. But right now, in a winning streak like that, they won the last 6, 17 games out of 19 that have points in. So they're a confident team. So let's kill that penalty, which they did. Very good on them.
It had to have been so deflating early in the season when we saw all those big leads they would get and lost just about every one. I mean, there was a string of games that was the same story over and over again for this team. And that was something a lot of the guys, reading reports, listening to interviews had talked about that feels a little bit different. They have some momentum now, they have chemistry, and they felt like they were hanging in more games if they were losing one. They weren't giving up those leads. Even if it wasn't the prettiest ending, even in the last game 6-3, when they had a little bit of a lead, they were still able to hold on to it. And I think that's been a big shift in the latter part of this month.
Well, imagine where they would be in the standings if they would have got those points and those wins, you know.
And the shootouts we've seen, goodness.
For sure. Oh, traffic in front, spread them out. It is tough to play 6-on-5, you know. It's not automatic because it is different than a 5-on-4, you know. There's less space on the ice. There's more pressure on you guys. It's tough to get the time and space on the ice like this. So, okay, good play. They have the right players on the ice right now.
And as you were mentioning, the Pens did pull their goalie.
Oh, no.
For fans at home, might have missed it.
Yeah. No, they're 6-on-5 right now. Oh, come on. There we go. Shoot the puck, Sid. Oh, no. Whew. Okay. Well, these are such big points in the standings, too. Yeah. You can't forget that the Senators, like, they've been hot. They won the last 3 games. They've been 6-2-2, you know, in the last 10. So they're playing very good hockey. But they're still, I think, 8 or 10 points out of the playoff position. So for them, it's always that, right? Towards the end of the season, you have those teams that are still believing, still fighting, and you got the guys on the teams on the top of the standings, what they're playing. Yes, they want to win some points, obviously, because the Penguins haven't clinched yet. But while the Penguins are probably taking a timeout right now, but it's a different challenge for these two teams, right? The Penguins want to keep winning, obviously, because you haven't clinched the playoff. But the Ottawa Senators, they need those points if they want to keep fighting. You know, it's a team that recently they had the group where they drafted well, they developed well, but we thought this year they were going to be a playoff for sure. They made the playoff last year, and they've been struggling. The culture is important too. In Ottawa this year, Allmark left in the middle of the season because there was trouble on the team too, and there was a bunch of rumors about the Ottawa Senators that their leadership group and stuff happened off the ice that made them, you know, Allmark to leave, and they went to get like Reimer, which is a goalie that was not even in net this year. They went to get Reimer because Allmark left the team because there was some chaos around the team that we don't know what the story is for sure. So this is tough in the middle of the season. So the Senators had a tough season, but I feel like right now it's all coming along. Like, you know, we talked about the Buffalo Sabres that had a tough season, tough couple years in a row, and now they made a GM change, and they've been a very, very good team. So the league is so tight. You know, the league is so tight, so every point is so important.
Well, we've talked about every point being important for the Penguins, especially early when we talked about, I feel like we saw so many shootouts that the Penguins were losing. It would be, a team would come back, go to overtime, lose the shootout, and it was so deflating to watch, but at least there was a point in the mix for them to get them to this point as well in the season where, you know, you have a team like the Senators, like you're saying, they're chasing points right now. The Penguins in a better position because when they started doing well, they at least gave themselves some leeway there with getting a point in those games and not just straight up losing them.
Oh, for sure. When the standings are so tight like that, every point is so important, right? So while this game is finishing too, you know, can we talk about Saturday's game where they celebrated 2016 Stanley Cup
team, and Sid with the tears, the viral moment.
Come on, fight for it. Ooh.
The viral moment all over social media, seeing the captain get sentimental, talking about what those memories meant and watching them across the screen. I mean, a really, really cool way to see that team be celebrated and see so many former guys come back to town for that recognition was special as well.
Oh, it's so special. We talked about Sid, you know, having tears in his eyes, and I had a chance to talk to him this morning about it, and he's like, I was watching the video and I looked left and I see Dupree with a little tear in his eyes. It's like, these guys are done now. How lucky am I to still be playing, you know? And
that's a cool perspective.
These are the words of a guy that just loves the game so much, and I think that he realized that there's less years ahead of them ahead of him than behind. So it is a privilege to be able to play the game and talk to, you know, Bill Zonnon today. That's a young guy that's just starting his career, right? And we talked during, you know, off the air, me and you, about what is the best job in the world in some way. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to play hockey for a while and doing what you love, you know, and every day you go to the rink and you have fun. You know, you're with 20 guys and you're just having a blast, and you compete in front of a, you know, full PPG paint arena. So these guys are fortunate. I think that's what Sidney Crosby really realized while he was in the blue line, having a little tear in his eyes.
Never taking a moment for granted, that's for sure. Now, what a cool perspective from Sid. Great journalism from you, Max.
Oh, thank
I know
you.
he's your friend, and you were just having a conversation with your former teammate about a really cool moment in his career, but awesome perspective, because everyone around the world was wondering, you know, what he's thinking in that moment.
Yeah.
And it was cool for him to be, you know, that open and genuine right before a game, and obviously didn't slow him down at all, but to be able to stand there and really appreciate what you've done and how you've impacted a city, as I'm sure the crowd looked on and roared when that was over. So special. And Sidney Crosby, we all have tears in our eyes as well every time we watch him play, knowing how much he's brought to this city as well. Unfortunately, the Penguins' win streak comes to an end, but this one a tough way to lose, but it was a close one. Hopefully they can get the momentum back next time. But as for us on Unobstructed Views, Max, it was wonderful to have you back. And apparently, here at Unobstructed Views, they don't want you to go. We've got some more deliberation here on the
They don't want you to go.
They don't want you to go.
I think it's just a question of if the icing, there's still time left on the,
Little time.
on the board,
Okay.
but that would be 1 second, if that. So it's, yeah.
Okay.
Point
All
four.
right.
You never know. You never know.
You never know.
It's not over till the fat lady sings, right? That's what they say. Shoot it. That's it.
And that'll do it. For all of us here at Unobstructed Views, everyone behind the scenes, thank you all so much for tuning in with us. We've had an absolute blast. I've had a blast this season getting to host each month and follow the Pittsburgh Penguins and interact with all the fans and amazing guests we've had. We still have another show. Max will be here for that.
I'll be here.
I might be tuning in, but might be in warmer weather talking about some baseball, but no worries. We'll still be talking some hockey too. Max, it's been great to get to work with you again. A privilege as always. Don't take a day for granted here in the office when you get to work with a Stanley Cup champion, so thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
From all of us here at Unobstructed Views, thanks for tuning in with us. And go Pens.